as capital.com. This is Jacob and Ronnie. If you've been in an accident, call 844-24-JACOB. For official rules and more information about context of this station, go to KFIAM640.com/rules. KFI AM 640. An iHeartRadio station. More stimulating talk. KFI AM 640. It's later with ROTHSCHILD. We're live everywhere. On the iHeartRadio app, here are some of the top stories that we're following right now. And fourth, of course, in the bye, Neil. Here are some of the headlines that we're following. LA Metro, get this, says classical is not loud, but there's a decibel meter which repeats that, and I have two thoughts on that. Yeah, it may be driving out the unhoused people, but is it helping people actually want to ride the train after that? Because too loud for the unhoused people is probably too loud for the riders as well, or would-be riders. And also, the race continues to fill Nuri Martinez's LA City Council seat, and it's likely headed to a runoff. We're following that. I'm quite sure we'll have an update as far as the vote totals as we go throughout the evening. And let's get back to the streets. There is a street medicine pilot program which has launched in Garden Grove. Now, healthcare providers are taking to the streets in Garden Grove, and they're using what is being termed as a doctor's office on wheels to bring medical assistance to homeless people right where they are, including primary care, but also behavioral health sciences and case management. The street medicine program is being organized by the county's provider of publicly funded health coverage, Cal Optima Health, in partnership with the City of Garden Grove and Healthcare in Action, a medical group that provides healthcare and other services to unhoused individuals. Through a $4 million two-year contract, Healthcare in Action will deliver up to 200 Cal Optima members using a medical van to reach those living in parks, on the freeway, and elsewhere on the street. Now, I know at first look, there are probably many people are saying, hey, why would we give them health care? We're not giving them an incentive to get on their feet. We're giving them an incentive to stay right where they are. We're giving them benefits of a sort. We're making them more comfortable, not less comfortable. And it may not be you thinking that. It may not be you saying that, but it's something that I do hear. It's something that I hear rather often as far as let's not accommodate homeless or unhoused people, but make them uncomfortable so they will either move or be more incentivized to go to temporary shelter than matriculate to permanent shelter. I hear all that and I agree with that, but I don't believe medical assistance or care is a part of that equation. If only because their failing health becomes the health issues for everybody. And I always say when you're talking about homeless people, you're dealing with a veritable alphabet of hepatitis A, B, and C, and any number of other communicable diseases. So it's a health issue beyond just a housing issue. And I do know, as long as they are unhoused, the health component is going to be huge. Now, there's the mental health component that many people who are on the streets are suffering from mental and emotional issues, but there are physical issues having to do with living on the streets for any prolonged length of time. Think about someone who's living on the streets during all this rain and cold and wind. I can only imagine what that does to a person's physical health over the course of just a couple of weeks. Now imagine if they've been living out there for months or years even. And I can't stress this enough. We may go back and forth about what money we spend or how we spend it or who is going to get it or which neighborhoods are going to be impacted the most or helped first. I get all that. But sometimes those conversations get in the way of the easy ones. Remember when I was talking about last night about getting the easy ones right? Well, for me, I would say this is one of the easy ones. If you can provide just a modicum the modicum of health care, and I put that in air quotes because it's not full health care. You are not only helping them, but you are helping yourself. You don't necessarily know how often, well, I should put it this way. I think people underestimate how many contacts they actually do have with homeless people. We want to talk about the pervasive nature of homelessness in LA County and even Orange County. Well, then you also have to then take into account that pervasiveness touching you. It's touching your neighborhood in a health sense. Now, some people just don't want to see the blight of homelessness. This is an ancillary issue. This is an adjacent issue to all of this. We forget that the spread of COVID in Southern California was so rapid because of its proliferation in the unhoused community, especially when it hit the first summer that it did hit. It was hardest there. These are not individuals who are just sitting on the sidewalk. If they're going into a car to eat in the restaurant, if they're standing outside your Starbucks, if they're going to the McDonald's, wherever they're going, their diseases or whatever on the metro. On the metro, yes, that carries along with this. So why wouldn't you want to say, look, at least it's healthy, healthier. Just something to think about. Sometimes you get so bogged down in the politics, we can't see the easy solution, or at least the temporary solution, when they're right in front of our face. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, look, I might be on one tonight, but when it comes to mistreating pets and animals, that's something, that really gets under my skin. And let me put it another way. Humans out there, you suck. And I'll tell you why when we come back. Let's go to the KFI 24-hour news on the name game.
With temperatures in the 70s and 80s expected this weekend and a massive snowpack, officials have warned snow melt could create massive flooding in California. The biggest risk is in the Solari Lake Basin and other areas of the Central Valley that have already flooded in this winter storm. An unwanted for murder has been shot and killed by police officers in a truck yard in Vernon. Southgate police say officers from several agencies were searching homeless camps along the LA riverbed early this morning when the man ran away from them. Police say the guy was shot after he tried to grab an officer's gun and punched her in the face. Two ride-hailing services that are totally driverless are seeking regulatory approval to drive around in one of the most densely populated cities in the U.S. With Cruise and Waymo get their approval, the driverless taxis could be cruising around San Francisco as early as the end of the year. Clear with lows in the 40s to low 50s tonight, sunny with highs in the low to upper 70s tomorrow. This report brought to you by personal injury firm Owen Patterson and Owen. That's cleared in Anaheim Hills on the 91.
As we're seeing in the spin move out of the middle lanes, your driver slowly recovering from Imperial Highway. If you're Mid-City 10 heading eastbound, taxis slowing as you come across Nashville. It'll stay pretty busy for downtown LA, clearing up right around the 110. And in Riverside, 215 southbound just before Central. South Farther is blocking the left lane, so you'll be seeing a pretty jammed up drive from the 9160 split. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno. Why should an accident victim not wait till they get better to call a lawyer?
There are strict time limits for filing injury claims, so you want to get professional legal help right away to get on the right track to physical and financial recovery.
Thanks, OPO. Now we know. 888-OPO-WINS. OPOLaw.com. This report is sponsored by Caltrans on CleanCA.com. Californians can agree that there is no place in their lives for litter. So let's come together and create a litter-free California. Join them at CleanCA.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans.
The How's Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule is to travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right. Yeah, when you take a tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast.
Cracked driveway, an overgrown and unusable patio? Let System Papers destroy it for you. System Papers will demolish, dig up, and haul away your treated, neglected outdoor surfaces for free. And will replace them with the outdoor space of your dreams. You'll have a driveway, built-in fire pits, stunning outdoor kitchens, air-worthy patios, and more. Get started today by calling System Pavers at 1-800-PAVE-004 or get inspired at systempavers.com. All orders must be placed by April 30th. See the website for details. Contract of license 661-575.
Want to go for a walk?
I'm tired of walking. I want a car.
So buy one.
I can't find one. There's no availability.
There is at roto.com.
Really?
Yes, tons of cars available right now and at great prices.
I'm sad, but oh my road. What a selection.
Just buy one listen. The wait is over. Find new and pre-owned cars available right now by downloading the app or check out roto.com.
Are you feeling the stress of a car accident? Let Jacoby and Myers take the wheel and steer you towards the compensation you deserve. 93% of crash victims who use the lawyers said they do it again. And with Jacoby and Myers, you'll get the best of both worlds. Our legal expertise and a hassle-free experience. Don't just take our word for it. See for yourself what over 50 years of experience can do for you. Call Jacoby and Myers. Justice for you since 1972.
Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Whoa, you got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the smell good plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unclog my drain?
$99.
If you haven't seen it.
Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stoppage. The smell good plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you went up front and everything. I just told a guy named Rabbi who wouldn't tell me anything.
No brothers here, ma'am. Just professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99. Call us. 1-800-446-MIKE. Contact your license number 399-170. Did you know your completely free iHeartRadio app is also your home for hit podcasts? Or news for you this week? Check out On Purpose with Dave Getty, discussing philosophy, life, and conversations with the biggest stars in the world. Listen today on your free iHeartRadio app. And I'm not complaining about what's happening in your area. If you're not going to take it upon yourself to help put someone in office that is going to be the best person to bring about this change. We're not getting out to vote, but we want to complain after? No, this is our Southern California. This is SoCal Saturday. Saturday evening at 5 on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Reporting live anywhere on the iHeartRadio app is later with Mo Kelly. From headlines, Irvine goes all electric for most new buildings, moving further and further away from gas. And an Irvine dermatologist has been indicted for allegedly poisoning her husband with liquid drain cleaner. Sounds kind of personal. I'm sorry for the joke there. I'm sorry. I take that back. No, it was funny though. It was funny. Some other news that I did want to talk about. I got to a Wiggle Waggle dog walk a little bit late this past Saturday, but I did.
A little bit late.
Well,
You missed the whole thing.
well, there's some stuff going on. I had to deal with some stuff before I could get there.
But you showed up, so that was good.
Yeah, and I love being out there and being able to see the different families and how they're interacting with their dogs and how the dogs interact with each other. If you listen to me, you know that I am a dog person through and through. I have 2 dogs. Whenever I see certain dog stories, it hits me very personally. I admit that. And when I saw the story about the dogs on brink of death, which were rescued from this Lancaster dog dumping ground, on one level, I was encouraged because they saved a lot of dogs. On another level, I was thinking, like, wait a minute, there's an actual ground, an area that people knew to go to dump dogs that they no longer wanted to care for. Now, some of this, I believe, is a function of coming out of the pandemic. Many of us got pets for the pandemic. You were going to be home. You're going to be available. Maybe you want some companionship. And you thought a dog was a good idea. Then you come out of the pandemic and you want to go back your normal everyday life and you don't want the burden or responsibility of caring for a pet. And I've heard more and more stories about people dumping their dogs, leaving their dogs, letting them run off, taking them to a pound, or even doing worse things and harming them. So when I see stories like this, it's very hard for me to emotionally process because in my house, our dogs, they're family members. They're just extensions of the family in every way. But this story, a team of rescuers found dozens of dogs on the brink of death and starvation, living on what has been termed as a dog dumping ground in Lancaster. Some of the puppies arrived safely at the temporary home, and in Studio City, and the day before, the pups, some pregnant, but mostly all with rib cages sticking out, were living off of the Lancaster desert trying to survive. So I received a call that there was a property in Lancaster that was known as a dumping ground. They go by and dump dogs, close quote. That's Melissa Bachelor of Wagmore Pet Dog Rescue. Bachelor says the man living on the property has been overwhelmed by the amount of dogs that have shown up, counting 40 of them at least. Many are pregnant, sick, and some have even been found dead. Quote, we found transporters. We found places for the dogs to go. We are raising donations. That's the biggest thing. Now, they did manage to save 10 puppies and immediately took them to the vet. Bachelor says these puppies are starving since they've had to scrounge for food, and which is evident by the protruding rib cages and low weight. Quote, these puppies are sick. They have bacteria. They are not treated well. They aren't eating well. I just don't understand people sometimes. I just don't understand the inhumanity of humanity a lot of the time. I do not value the life and soul of a living creature, especially something that's royal and just precious as a dog, period. I don't get it. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know what goes into the psychology and psychosis of that. We're not talking about this one person who did this one thing. It was a dumping ground. In other words, there was a conversation between people. Oh, you want a dumping dog? Go out to Lancaster, make a left here, make a right, and you see the big area where all these dogs, just move right there and just be done with it.
Yeah, not only is there a dumping ground, but there's some form of communication that people know exists.
We're not talking about the singular dog found in the trash can. We've seen that. We've heard of that. But these are dozens and dozens of dogs. And I'm not exactly sure how long that dumping ground has existed. But to your point, and it's been long enough for people to know about it, talk about it, maybe tweet about it, share it, and so forth, because it was common knowledge. It wasn't one person who had 40 dogs and took 40 dogs out there. No, we're talking dozens of people who decided to take dogs out there to that singular location.
And I think you're right. It's like during the pandemic, a ton of people got animals, and then they went back to work and they're like, oh, I can't care for this animal anymore, which is just a cop-out to me. Because when you adopt an animal, you adopt it for its life. It's your responsibility. I remember when I was getting one of my cats, I went to the dinner with the guy who was dropping the dog off, which, yeah, there are extenuating circumstances for everything. And I just sat and glared at him. I'm like, how could you do that to a member of your family? But I think some people just don't think of them as family.
No, they don't.
They think of them as a possession rather than, like you said, some sort of I don't know, sentient is the right word, but if they love and they breathe and they give you affection, and even the main ones give you affection.
They have the full range of emotions. If you've ever been a pet owner, if you've ever had a dog in your house, they have the full range of emotions. They're tired. They get in bad moods. They're happy to see you all the time, but there are other times it's like they don't want to be bothered. And they can sense when you are not in a good mood, or you are down, or you need just some sort of affection. They are very intuitive with you because they spend so much time with you, hopefully. I just don't get it. Now, I don't want to tell too much of my family's business, but there are people I know within my family circle who have chosen to rehome pets on occasion. And I would rather you do that. I would rather you go to a pet shelter and give the pet at least some sort of chance as opposed to going to a dog dumping ground. I think
that's the coolest too, because it's not like they don't know how to fend for themselves.
Right.
They used to, 1,000 years ago,
right.
Dogs used to be able to take care of themselves, but they don't now because we've made them dependent on us. to the need humans.
Well, not only that, let's just take a particular pet that has been living in a household for, let's say, a year or so. It's not like it's had any practice at fending for itself. Say nothing of the domestication of the breed, that process. You're going to have a dog that's with you, let's say, for the pandemic, a good year and a half, and then you're going to put it out on its own in the desert and say, good luck. Not only that, imagine how that dog feels. That dog does not understand why you are abandoning it. That dog does not understand why you, as humans, have decided to leave it out there. Dogs don't get that, but they understand hurt, they understand pain. That is a living thing that you, your selfish, sucking human self, has decided, whatever, I'm done with you. A box on you. Yeah, I don't get humans, and I think that's maybe the theme for the evening. And I love when I get home, when I say people, the two people who are always at the door, doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock at night, 12, and doesn't matter. They know when I pull in the garage, I can hear them scratching at the door, waiting for me to close the garage and then open the door to come in, and they're always tapping the TV. People aren't even like that. My wife isn't like that. My wife is not waiting on me to come home and say, oh, so glad that you're home, and you're home. She's like food in bed.
Or lock the door.
Right.
Honey, why is the deadbolt locked?
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back. But, sometimes students stuff. It's later with Coach Kelly. KFIN 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. If you missed it, we got it.
KFI. Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Officers not involved. I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour news. The LAPD had fewer officer-involved shootings in 2022 than the year before.
The year-end report on use of force shows 31 shootings compared to 37 in 2021. The report was released yesterday to the police commission and also shows a 17% decrease in categorical use of force. There were 53 instances of encounters that could include the use of a weapon or serious physical contact. In 2022, there were 2,230 reports of non-categorical use of force, which includes less severe encounters like tasers, leg sweeps, pushing, and shoving. The department says there was a 27% drop in officer-involved shootings dealing with the mentally ill, and a 30% drop in shootings with the homeless. Gregory Payne.
A safety sergeant and 6 officers have been allowed to remain free on their own recognizance following their first court appearance on charges stemming from the death of a man in Burbank. The man had been restrained by officers when he refused to have his blood drawn during a traffic stop in 2020. As he heard on video screening, I can't breathe. LA County DA George Gascon and the officers were criminally negligent and caused the man's death. The officers are due back in court next month to be arraigned on 1 count each of involuntary manslaughter. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has met with Taiwan's president at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley. While the U.S. acknowledges a one-China policy in which Beijing lays claim to Taiwan, it does not endorse China's claim to the island.
The unique fear that I would think around the world, not very often does the world see Republicans and Democrats standing together on one issue.
McCarthy says the bipartisan meeting had one goal: to bring peace throughout the world. He says his message to China is that there is no need for retaliation. McCarthy says the U.S. does not intend to escalate tensions, but wants to continue to foster democracy and freedom. A state senator has proposed a bill that gives people and independent repair shops access to tools and parts needed to fix electronics, everything from phones to tractors. California Public Interest research that people in the U.S. spend over $1,700 every year buying new electronics. Senator Susan Salamantes-Eggman proposed the Right to Repair Act in January. It would require manufacturers of certain electronics to make repair parts available to stores for at least 3 years after the product is made. The bill is set for hearing next week. An abortion ban nearly a century old has been repealed by Michigan's governor. Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer repealed the ban this month after voters added protections for reproductive rights to the state's constitution.
The bill made it a felony, punishable by up to 4 years in prison for anyone who administers drugs for inducing a miscarriage.
IPW says in September a state judge ruled the ban unconstitutional, but then the state House and Senate passed a bill revoking the law. Whitmer says he signed the bill because standing up for people's fundamental freedoms is the right thing to do. The DOJ has announced a tentative $144 million settlement with people and families of those who survived the mass shooting at a church in Texas. Former U.S. Airman Devin Patrick Kelly killed 26 people in 2017, which remains the deadliest mass shooting in Texas history.
During his time in the Air Force, Kelly had committed crimes that should have prevented him from legally purchasing a gun. But records of those crimes never made it into the civilian database.
Jim Ryan says 75 people sued the government after the shooting. The Justice Department says the settlement is still subject to court approval. Apple's Find My iPhone has caused a mess for at least one family because the app keeps mistakenly sending angry users to their address. Since 2018, Scott Schuster's had a number of people show up on his doorstep in Richmond, Texas. Not selling something, they want something from him, their phone. Free video shows almost a dozen people at his door because the Apple Find My iPhone app showed their lost phones were inside. One guy even threatened to call the cops. Schuster says he has no idea why the Find My iPhone app is seeing his address. He just wants Apple to fix it so his kids can sleep more peacefully at night. Jennifer Jones Lee, KFI News. Southland weather from KFI. Clear overnight with lows in the 40s and 50s. Sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the low to upper 70s for most areas. 50s and the 60s for the Antelope Valley. It's going to be sunny, a little bit cooler with highs topping out in the mid 70s on Friday. Then warm back up as we head into the weekend with highs by Easter Sunday, hitting 80. It's 60 in Anaheim, 57 Redondo Beach, 59 in West Covina, 60 in Sherman Oaks. We've got flowing in Hollywood on the 101.
Just after Western, you'll see traffic goes away there as you approach, and it'll start to ease after you approach into 110. Taking a look at the direction of your drive on the 5-8 southbound in Commerce, once you get past Atlantic Avenue, there's going to be a pretty slow crawl from there until you get to Lakewood Boulevard. And a busy ride if you're on the 15 northbound heading into the Down Pass. Just after the 215, traffic backs up, and it stays slow up until you get to about the 138. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno. You locked your cat up this tree?
Yeah, I was way up there and scared to come down.
Hang on, I'll get him for you.
Be careful, mister.
Yes, kid. What? Oh, no, your mom and dad called us to clean out your shower drain.
Why?
They were up a tree too.
Really?
Your drain was really clogged, backing up, and we have to stop that nasty stuff from invading your bathroom.
So you're a hero?
Try to be every day. We're rooter heroes.
Wow.
We make sure you live in a safe, clean house. Go on.
Thanks for rescuing George.
It's what a hero does.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you to a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way, or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linezad. Linezad is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms. Belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linezad to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linezad if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stool. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linezad and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine what can relieve from IBS mean for you. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linezad. Learn more at linezad.com or call 1-800-LINDESS.
This is Jacob Emma. If you've been in a truck accident, call 844-24-JACOB.
KFI.
More stimulating talk.
And iHeart radio station.
AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Let's talk about BattleBot Destructathon, the world's first daily robot combat show. And it's exclusive to Las Vegas. It's an intense, fast-moving fight fest featuring famous robots that have delighted millions of fans all over the world. Donald Hudson, my next guest, is a legend in the combat robot fighting world and hails from San Diego. With more than 20 years of robot combat fighting experience, Donald and his notorious mean green robot machine ROTHSCHILD are known everywhere. And Donald Hudson joins me right now on the show. Good evening, Donald. It's just great to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Always happy to talk about something I love.
I gotta ask, you don't necessarily come from the classical engineering world in your foray into robot fighting, but if I have it correct, you started off as a welder. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I started out like, a basic fabricator in the aluminum industry many years ago. I did pull a hard knocks and hard labor for a long time, but that's really when I advanced my involvement. I was doing custom awning, and so everyone was different. I think that's what I kind of really realized. I just like building stuff, and especially if it's something different for people, and they were proud to see it like on the front of the building, or advertising. It's just a world of creativity opened up for me.
It opened up your eyes as far as the opportunities and the possibilities. But how did you know, or what was the first step into robot combat fighting, or even just developing more sophisticated machinery? What was that first step?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it happens, right? You get a little signal that there's something you're very interested in, you start learning it. Most people are going about their daily jobs trying to get through them, but they're trying to look for something that they're passionate. And I think I got lucky and realized early on that that was kind of what I wanted to do. So then over the years, I kind of worked myself into the medical industry where I was a rehab technology specialist. So that's why I learned to repair all kinds of different types of medical equipment, everything from like wheelchairs to ventilators. And I worked there for like 9 years. And right about that time, I think it was probably about 8 years into that company, a company called TRUMAN Healthcare here in San Diego. And I liked the job. And it's teaching more and more electromechanical stuff for people. And suddenly, I learned about technology and I just talked about robot wars, which is another form of the competition that's now over in the UK, but it started here. And we started the early version of that in 1996, very first time I ever did it. And what I noticed was that there were so many things I was pushing off in the world that I needed to learn, but I didn't know that was the future. Doing something that fits me along, all of a sudden I wanted to learn the human. Well, I had a lot more to learn. I learned electronics, I had to learn how to use CAD software, which is like the number one tool nowadays. And it really jump-started me. So I like to tell people that story because started out you just know where you're going to end up. But somehow it's all related. You find something you're interested in and you start asking all kinds of questions before you know it, you're on a robotics company like I did. So work to the why. You never know when you'll be.
That is amazing and fantastic. And you talk about that long learning curve of gradual steps that you learn in the business, even now incorporating computer-aided design. Then talking about BattleBots, if I jump forward, the show in general, you have what I would call these kids, these 17, 18, 19-year-old MIT students who get all of that, and now they're competing at the highest level. What do you make of that?
Well, never say they skipped it. They have gone through the same route in learning mechanical and electrical and CAD design. Everybody that is in BattleBots now, I mean, you don't have to be CAD design to actually go to robot. You don't have to be CNC machine. We're good at BattleBots. It's a easy playing field. I can go out and get my ass on the fire for you. That is something you really got to do. You put yourself on that for you. You can like that seems like this, badass and go, destroy all the witness in the world. But there is an army of people working on now to try and change my point. And they're all ages, all different backgrounds, from plumbers to real estate agents. And I think that's what I love about Ottawa. It's an equal playing field. Anybody can be successful at it. And the skills that you learn along the way are very valuable. Everything you do now. You got to put together short deadlines. Robotics just really covers a lot of the things that are supported. So it's just used for that, and it's great for me.
all of that makes sense to me, but I also wonder about that learning curve, and there is a financial cost along the way, an extensive financial cost. My question is, without getting into too many specifics as far as your financial costs, in a general sense, how costly is it to develop a robot and then also construct and destruct and reconstruct these robots?
And I'm sure to the rest of the world it's just something this was important, right? It's pretty important, but it's really not. You can buy surplus motors and you can probably get an Autobot with a working one and compete for probably less than $5,000 if you're welding it, making it yourself, shooting and you're buying parts on eBay. It's FTU. So you go all the way in and be very successful with a robot just like that. That's why what happens now that it's not very impressive, of course, so you can rent that and cost yourself $10,000 worth of that $5,000 down. That's an extra time. And then, so now a lot of us, we just started, cutting off on not the parts and we're really building the exosuit while you're there so that you can still have the damage and to a robot, even if it's wins. And for me, that's kind of something very special. Not like they're building something, but it's not like I'm too special with them. I'm not doing a comic book character. I have to do both. I have to build something the fans love. They need to love it when I read, and they need to love it more when I win. And I need to love it, keep doing it. My team will work with me, they need to love it. And show the produce stuff, you get trouble getting on the show. This is very thought.
If you're just getting in, my guest right now is the Donald Hudson. If you know anything about BattleBots and anything about the world of robotics and combat bots, you know Donald Hudson. Really exclusive event in Las Vegas. It's intense, it's fast, and it's fun, and it's coming up next year on Later with Mo Kelly. KFI 8640, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app now. Let's go to the KFI 24-hour newsroom and Amy King.
50 people have been displaced because of a fire in an apartment building in Buena Park. Orangeman Fire Authority Captain Cam Wynn says the fire shortly after 2 a.m. was started by a person cooking, who apparently left that unattended. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has announced he's running for the Democratic presidential nomination, so he'll be running against Biden should the current president decide to run for re-election. The 69-year-old is the son of former New York Senator and assassinated presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy and the nephew of the late JFK. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says as president, he would address corruption within the state and corporate systems, which he says has shattered the middle class and led to ecological disaster. Governor Newsom says he's ready to pay up on a bet after UConn beat San Diego State for the NCAA basketball championship. Newsom says he'll be sending the governor of Connecticut and California out of college. Today tonight, sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the low to upper 70s, 50s and 60s for the Antelope Valley. Got a car fire in the Sepulveda Pass on 405.
Northbound at Football Center Drive is along the right shoulder. Watch for some spectator traffic as you approach that area. Also on the 405 northbound in Inglewood, right at Century, you'll see a stalled car that's stuck in the carpool lane. So your drive starts to jam up right around the 105. And the busy ride, if you're on the 91 heading eastbound in Anaheim Hills, that's going to be approaching Weir Canyon. It'll stay slow until you get to about Green River Road. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno. This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
The victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Are you looking to sell your home quickly and easily without having to deal with repairs or the hassle of a lengthy selling process? Look no further than Sellers Advance. They with thousands of satisfied customers, they're the go-to choice for homeowners looking to sell their homes fast. They'll buy your home for a competitive cash offer, and they can close in just days, not weeks or months. No repairs are needed because they buy homes as gifts. And with the most 5-star reviews on Google and Yelp, it's no wonder why thousands of satisfied sellers have chosen Sellers Advantage for their home selling needs. Sellers Advantage is the fastest and most stress-free way to sell your home. So if you're ready to sell your home, call Sellers Advantage. Get a no-obligation offer at 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747. sellersadvantage.com. TRE number 0196168.
The How's Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule of cheap travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Folly, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right. When you take the tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Rolando. National Beer Day is coming, so I'd like to book a room for Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Now I'll get top reasons to visit Rolando.
It's not crazy. You have free and common chocolate bunny.
Number two,
The legendary brain mystery lies this finance.
and the number one reason.
With a quick sunglasses and a chance to outfit the brain down. When you earn 500 points on your reward card, the 10th or 11th.
Rolando, good time. I'm sure somebody's played hardball, but with the Kobe lines on your side, you'll level the playing field. With over 50 years of experience, trust Jacoby Myers to protect your rights and make you the compensation you deserve. Call Jacoby Myers, the official law firm of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Our grandkids are coming for Easter.
We got only 24 hours to notice. But it's not final.
You can walk out with everything we need for Easter.
Parmesan, pilot flight cams are $1.49 a pound. Limit one, additional $25 per person.
Smart button, one trip, and that's it.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all of your favorite radio stations.
Selling in the morning, Rover's for Glory. Booker's Striker,
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
Alter Ego, are you ready?
All of the best free curated playlists. Nobody does it better. All of the great podcasts for every interest.
This is Freddie Prinze Jr. from the Wrestling with Freddie podcast.
All of the mind-blowing content.
$20,000 awesome.
All of your favorite superstars.
You're the Red Hot
Chili Peppers, get them all. It doesn't cost a thing. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. It's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linvac or Accutide. Linvac is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not elastic. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movement and help relieve overall abdominal symptoms. Belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linvac to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linvac if you have a bowel blockage. Intermediate causes you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stool. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linvac and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine what could relief from IBS-C mean for you. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linvac. Learn more at linvac.com or call 1-800-LINVESS. Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Whoa, you've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the smell this plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unclog my drain?
$99.
If you haven't seen it.
Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stopping. The smell this plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you're like up front and everything. I just told a guy named Rabbi who wouldn't tell me anything.
No brothers here, ma'am. Just professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99. Call us, 1-800-446-MIKE. Contact your license number 39917. This is Joel from How to Money. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about electric vehicle tax credits. A lot of them are actually going to go away quite soon if you're in the market for an EV. What should you do after your response to discuss How to Money with Joel Marsgard, Sundays at noon on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Get started with a small group of businesses and dive on things. It fills arenas around the world. In its 20th year on the BattleBot King, the undeniable, irrefutable, undisputed king of robot style. It's been 20 years. We're coming back to it now. KFI AM 640. iHeartRadio app, and I'm in the middle of a conversation with Donald Hudson. He's more than just a legend in BattleBox. He is a visionary, I would say, and he's also one of the participants in BattleBox Destructathon, which is the world's first daily robot combat show, which is exclusive to Las Vegas. I think I set it up, Mr. Hudson. How would you describe Destructathon beyond the obvious, given its title?
Well, Destructathon is the brainchild of sports creators of BattleBox, and what it was a conversation of them wanting to, bring it more to the masses. They had the building there, which is permanent in Vegas, and they knew that they did it in the past. They did some BattleBox camps and IP, and they needed a venue to do that. And, what better place to do that in Vegas? So, Destructathon was put together where it's a live battle that I think you see 4 nights a week. I think I do it on Sundays at noon, something like that as well. It's right off the strip there in Vegas, but, it includes I think there's 15 or 13 robots that have been created. And so what happens is you all, it's just a sustainable idea to literally have unscripted real battles every day and keep preparing robots just like you do in BattleBox, right? We go there, we have to prepare them to put back in the home. So the show is no different. The only difference is that I personally am not there. However, I did build a robot specific for it, which I got teammates there that they actually run and operate the robot on a daily basis for the event. But it's really 2-on-2. They go at it. You can, have parties there. You can invite all your buddies. Instead of going to the strip club, you can do that as well. It's really meant to just be something really great for engineering and the smartphone that want to see something more than Vegas.
What is the type of advice that you would give for up-and-comers? Because there are people who may not even remember the original version of BattleBox. They're just coming to it now as they see it on Discovery. They see the fun. They don't necessarily see the background and the build-up. And how would you suggest someone get started in this?
That's an excellent question. Ironically, the Destructathon was created specifically for that. One of the things we realized was that you have this show that has a live competition, all kinds of men stuff happening. So imagine being a writer trying to figure out a storyline for something that happens that's so quickly. Blow it all in, set it all up, see what kind of natural story you get out of it. Well, when we had Destructathon, they had a hard time keeping up with a lot of the battles. So what this does is this allows not only the live show to be continually going on, the kids and the matches that were happening every night, any one of those matches can be equated to newcomers. And one of them got to show up and fight one fight. They get the experience of being on TV. They're going to use the video of it to try and get more sponsors. They're going to test out those deals.
You make the point that you may not physically be there in Las Vegas, but your teammates are there. I'm quite sure there are other people on your team who have aspirations of following in your footsteps. My question is to you. You see Destructathon. You see how the sport has grown. You do this, I'm quite sure, because you love doing it and you enjoy doing it. But what is your goal beyond ROTHSCHILD winning another title?
Oh, yeah, that's the fun part. I mean, I think this is going to sound like one of those cliches, but it's not about, winning. I think most people show up at BattleBox with a design. I'm going to be fair, they're just trying to impress the other engineers. That's one of the things out of it. And I show up and I come to my robot, and I go looking at it and oh, that's going to be fun. That's a little bit greener. That's a different approach I'm going. That's what all engineers do. They're just going to be cut out of engineering. And I think that I don't think the win is really what it's all about. I think it's just being a part of something great, learning a lot from it, trying to figure out how to get into it, and then be resourceful about your idea so that you can make it happen and have the experience. There's a lot of people out there that looked at it before and probably thought, oh, well, I don't even know how to get selected for the show. Well, guess what? Now you get selected for all you put up, they just sign up for one of their one-on-one matches, which would be, by the way, against another dude or another robot testing out their robot. So, I mean, that's a real world test for newcomers, but it's a great way to get started.
Donald Hudson, my time with you has grown short, but I want to make sure you can shout out your company, your social media, how people can reach you or find out more about the sport that you and I both love?
Obviously, you can look at BattleBox.com. You can find all the information you want to know about the Destructathon and the upcoming BattleBox, which we're all preparing for it. And if you want to know more about me and my company, you can look up Modal AI here in San Diego. We do, very high-tech, open-source, autonomous drones. And all of that came from doing what I love. So, what's one of them?
I don't know. I can answer that. He is Donald Hudson. He is a legend in the world of robotics and engineering and combat robotics. Mr. Hudson, thank you so much for calling this evening. And we'll be watching every single week. I'm pulling for you and locked up. So I want to make sure that our generation is so young and whippersnappers.
Also, just Thursday night, against Mad Hatter. Worth watching.
It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 240. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Now let's go to KFI 24-hour newsroom and Amy Quinn.
The operator of a crane that toppled over and hit some power lines to Malibu has died. LA County Fire says the operator became trapped inside the cab this evening. Fire crews had to wait for the power lines to be turned off before they could try to rescue the operator. Forest Canyon Road has been closed from PCH to June Road. The city of Garden Grove has received its first street medicine program aimed at bringing health care to the homeless.
The initiative brings medical services directly to people living on the streets where they can receive treatment for STDs and HIV. CEO of Healthcare in Action, Michael Hoskins, says mental health care is also offered.
Schizophrenia and bipolar disorder are part of what we do. We have to partner with psychiatrists to provide those services.
Hoskins says finding shelter for the homeless is the main goal, but by providing medical care, the community can get one step closer. Healthcare in Action partnered with Cal Optima to kick off the program yesterday. In Orange County, Chris Adler, KFI News.
Metro and other transit agencies are facing funding cutbacks as federal pandemic relief programs come to an end. The money helps public transit services because of the steep drop in ridership during the pandemic. But according to the reporting by Cal Matters, the number of riders has not returned to pre-pandemic levels. Ridership statewide dropped from 100 million in February of 2019 to about 20 million in June of 2020. There was a slight uptick last summer. Governor Newsom has visited a small college in Sarasota Bay, Florida, as part of his so-called Campaign for Democracy. He met with students who say they're fighting an effort by Governor Ron DeSantis to control the college. DeSantis recently named 6 conservative trustees who want to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at the school. Newsom is on a tour through the South to support Democrats and promote progressive values. A Democratic state lawmaker in North Carolina has announced he's switching to the Republican Party. Representative Tricia Costum's stump will give Republicans veto-proof majorities in both the state's legislative chambers. Calvin says she's still the same person and she's going to do what she believes is right.
I have been welcomed with open arms by my colleagues, and I'm glad to call you all my colleagues.
Calvin says she's going to listen to others and ask their opinions on a proposed 13-week abortion ban in the state. She says she's going to pray on the issue. Top Gun Maverick has landed 6 nominations for the 2023 MTV Movie and TV Awards. It's up for the big one, Best Movie, along with Avatar: The Way of Water, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Nope, Scream 6, and Smile. For the TV side, Stranger Things and The Last of Us both got 6 nominations. Still working on a car fire, we'll tell you where next.
Field of Dreams, those junk science supplements out there, you don't want them because they use an extract of fruits and vegetables. You gotta watch out. Field of Dreams is different because it uses the whole organic fruit and vegetable, not some watered down extract. That's why I take it daily, every single day. 1 scoop with a beverage of my choice. And each ingredient in Field of Dreams was scientifically chosen to support vital organs like heart, lungs, and kidney health. Others support my immune system. You can't go wrong. And best of all, Field of Dreams is backed by its Better Health promise. If your doctor doesn't tell you your numbers have improved greatly, well, just return it for a full refund. You can't beat that guarantee. So let me get you started with 15% off your first order at fieldofgreens.com. Just use the promo code KFI. That's promo code KFI at fieldofgreens.com.
Southwest weather from KFI. Clear tonight, lows in the 40s and 50s. Sunny and warmer tomorrow, highs in the 70s at the beaches. Low to mid-70s for Metro LA and Inland OC, low to upper 70s for the valleys, and low 70s for the IE, 50s and 60s for the Emerald Valley. Mostly sunny right into the weekend with highs by Easter Sunday into the 70s to near 80s. It's 55 in Rancho Santa Margarita, 55 in Cypress. It's got a car fire in over the pass on 405.
That's northbound just before Mulholland Drive. It's blocking the right lane, and the fire crews are also trying to put that out. So you'll see a heavy ride from about Sunset. Studio City, 101 southbound, right at the 134. You'll see a crash that's in the center divider, and that's just adding to the slowing from Laurel Canyon. In the Pass 15 northbound, that's just before Claycorn. Watch out for a stalled car that's stuck in the middle lane. You're seeing a pretty jammed up drive as you approach Kenwood. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. From Pedro Moreno. The expert Damco has been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certification. So they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technology. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out. Double A, yeah. Check engine light on? We'll check it for free.
Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Well, you've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the Velvet Plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unclog my drain?
$99. But you haven't seen it. Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer soffit. The Velvet Plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions. You can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you're like upfront and everything. I just told a guy named Rabbi who wouldn't tell me anything.
No brothers here, ma'am. With professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99. Call us. 1-800-446-MIKE. Contact your representative at 39917. Hey, it's Steve Sharp with the unfiltered truth about water softener. They don't filter your water. There's a better solution. Free caps. No filters, stains, no salt, no servicing, and now on approved credit, own a Light Source system for as low as $75 a month with their easy payment plan. Call Light Source at 800-803-2696, 800-803-2696, or visit lightsourcewater.com. You should choose your air purifier like your life depends on it because, well, it's just life. The recent Ohio chemical disaster showed us toxic air threatens our health. ViralRabbi is the next generation in home air purification. It's specifically designed to wipe out airborne viruses, germs, and the chemicals known to cause allergies, illness, and difficulty breathing. Even toxic fumes from a recent train derailment were no match for ViralRabbi. The single EnviroCleanse unit removed 99% of the dangerous compounds that were found in the homes near the chemical disaster. If it can clean the air after a toxic spill, imagine how it can help keep your family healthy. Only EnviroCleanse comes with a free air quality monitor. Visit ekpure.com and use the promo code Conway for 10% off your EnviroCleanse home purification unit. Plus, you get the free air quality monitor and fast free shipping. That's $150 savings. Visit ekpure.com, promo code Conway. ekpure.com, promo code Conway. Rosetta Stone, where language is learned. RosettaStone.com. When something happens in the KFI studios, check it out on our socials at KFI AM 640 before somebody makes us take it down. It's rated with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Some headlines that we all follow, and we're continuing to follow the race to fill Mary Martinez's LA City Council seat, and it's looking at this point it might go to a runoff.
Because they have to get 50% plus one vote in order to avoid a runoff. Otherwise, the top two will do a runoff in June.
So, there you have it. So, it's most likely it's going to be a runoff, but we'll continue to watch to see if anything should change. And
the last numbers we had were that, the last numbers I was just looking at, the last numbers were that the leader, Imelda Padilla, so far has about 25% of the vote. And then there's some other ones that like 18, 19. So it doesn't really look like unless something major changes that anyone can get to.
Yeah, and that's a plurality, not a majority. So there you have it. Looking at a runoff, and also LAPD releases 2022 Youth Report year-end review report, and people will probably nitpick that, and we'll see what comes out of that. Some entertainment news. You may know the actor Donald Glover. He played Randall Calrissian in the movie Solo. You may know him from the TV show Atlanta. You may know him from his musical alter ego, Childish Gambino. That bumper music that we were playing on the way in. In fact, Stephen Page is called This Is America. This is a point of reference. Okay, that's Donald Glover. You may remember the video. It was somewhat controversial, talking about gun violence in America. But that's Donald Glover. And his TV show, Atlanta, is very popular. And let me just give you the full story here. When we were doing our Nerdorama podcast years ago, there was a story which came out on the actor Liam Neeson. And you remember he got into some trouble because he was recounting in an interview a story of a female friend who allegedly was raped by a black man. And he said in an interview that he went out on the streets looking to kill someone black. And he received a lot of pushback for it, and rightfully so. And it got to be to the point where Liam Neeson was turning down interviews, he was turning down roles, he was trying to get away from that. And to all stuff, I know you would warn off Liam Neeson forever. Forever. All that is a precursor. Now, Donald Glover, who I was just telling you about, the star of the show Atlanta, had reached out to Liam Neeson, and I guess was trying to convince him, Liam Neeson, to come on his show Atlanta to not only kind of address the role, but actually make fun of it. I don't know how that translates to comedy, but as far as I'm concerned, when you say Liam Neeson to me, this is what I think of. If you are looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills that I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare to relationship. Now, I don't know if someone trying to talk like that on the phone is going to actually intimidate me. But dude, you're 3,000, you're actually about 8,000 miles away. You're in America, and I'm in Paris. That's from the movie station. That's not going to scare me. But that's Liam Neeson. That's what he's known for. And he's not known for comedy. Donald Glover has reached out to him to try to kind of smooth it over and help Liam Neeson get past this. And I don't know what I think about it. Not everything's fun. I know that if Liam Neeson is involved in anything, it means I'm not watching it. You don't get to say that you are going to go out on the street and kill a black man, any black man. Why? Because you say that your friend was raped by a black man. You did not say, I want to go and find that individual. You said, I went out on the street with a crowbar. And the very first black person that I saw, I was going to beat their head. But he has a substance that'll kill. If you are looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have is a crowbar. I have a very particular set of skills. And a crowbar that I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Black people. I think that's what he meant. That's exactly what he did. Now, I can respect Donald Glover in the family of entertainment. We understand, and I understand being on the radio, you can get into an interview and you say too much, or you say something which doesn't come out right, and you want to take it back, and you can't necessarily take it back, and you realize everyone's going to hear it. And I try to never go on the radio emotional. Now, I can get animated, I can talk, but I'm not internally emotional, because that's when you start saying stuff that you shouldn't say and saying stuff that you can't take back, because it's actually born of emotion, not thought. So he wasn't confident to make that statement. It came out of nowhere. Even the interview was like, but you're here to talk about the kitchen. I know it came out of nowhere. Not even the kitchen, the other one, the one where Viola Davis and him, and there's a bunch of mobsters and the wives of mobsters. Yeah. No, okay, whatever that one was. Now, here's my only parallel, and this is part of the reason why we talked about this. You might have remember had a little issue with Roger Stone. Just a little issue. It was lightly covered all over the world. And many times people have asked me, hey, would you ever have another interview with Roger Stone? I said, no. No, I have no desire, because I don't feel like going back there, and I don't feel like giving that person another platform, because as far as I'm concerned, what he said in that interview was the most honest thing. That particular thing, his characterization of me. So I can appreciate what Donald Glover wants to do. I'm not even sure. He was talking about this in the new issue of DC Magazine about Williams' initial reluctance to take the part as he was trying to get away from the controversy, and Donald Glover, was trying to smooth it over and have him. I don't know if he even did the cameo, but I believe he did. I believe he did. When I heard that he was going to be on Atlanta, I think I said, I'm not going to be watching that. Yeah, that's, for me, if Liam Neeson, and I don't know how he feels about it, if he wanted to either make amends or he truly felt bad about it, or he felt like it was not representative of who he was, then do that, say that, address that, but you skip over that, and then not only make money off it, but kind of make light of it. When people like you and me just find it funny, that makes it kind of uncomfortable for me. And I know he did it, or would be doing it with the blessing of Donald Glover, but just because Donald Glover says it's okay, doesn't mean it's okay with me. I would rather want to remember him for taking, if they were looking for a ransom. I can tell you, I don't have money, but what I do have. Why is it when Liam Neeson's always talking, there's this music in the background? Does he walk around town, and when he's on the phone, it's really cool?
Your life has soundtrack.
I mean, it would be. If I could get on the phone, like, if you're looking for a ransom, if you're looking for a ransom, I can tell you, like, look what I do have. Liam Neeson got that from Steven Seagal. So Steven Seagal was one of the first people to dialogue with individuals and have this music playing. Because he's a very slow talker, very low talker, so he always had to have that music to add emotion to his emotion report. I wouldn't be talking on the phone with anyone and just let this guy rattle on and threaten me. I don't care what kind of skills you got. What are you going to do? You don't know who I am. He's not like it's a movie or anything. If you were looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills and a monotone voice that I've acquired over a very long career. That's the skills and that's in my efforts to like you. That's the husky voice.
You sound a little winded. Kind of like you were just a couple minutes ago.
Winded? I don't know what you're talking about. That's how rumors get started. But it is interesting to know how he says 6 words. 6 words. If you were looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
I'm never going to be able to
acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me in my efforts. It's played with most Kelly Tip. I am supported live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app. We have more Donald Glover news in just a moment. Now let's go to the KFI25 newsroom in 18.
A man accused of being on drugs when he ran into a family in Rancho Santa Margarita, killing a 1-year-old boy, has been released from jail with no charges filed. The OC District Attorney's Office visit is still investigating. Little boy's parents are seriously injured. Former Vice President Mike Pence will not appeal a federal judge's order that he's testifying in an ongoing investigation of former President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election. Just 21% of residents in California made enough money in 2022 to buy a median-priced single-family home. A report by the California Association of Realtors says that's down from 27% in 2021. Orange County is the least affordable county for Latino home buyers. Clear tonight, sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the low to upper 70s. We've got a crash in East LA on to 10.
Eastern Avenue is blocking the left lane, so you'll be seeing traffic as you come across Soto Street. And if you're shopping on the 110 northbound in downtown LA, watch this road. You're approaching 8th Street. That clears up once you get to the 101. And And if you're on the 405 northbound just before Turbo Center driving the slope of the path, earlier car runner there has been extinguished and moved out of the right lane. Cleanup crews are on scene, still picking up some debris and cleaning things up, but it's still a pretty slow crawl from about Moraga Drive. AFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno.
This report is sponsored by Sync It Up. Sync It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered teacher-led learning projects. Student computers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at syncitup.org.
Hello, Rolando. National Beer Day is coming, so I'd like to book a room for Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Now just top reasons to visit a leader.
It's not crazy. We are bringing Money Pocket Bunny April 9th.
Number 2,
The legendary Wayne Newton live this Friday.
and the number 1 reason.
With a quick fundraiser, there's time a chance to upgrade the rating. When you earn 500 points on the reward card, the 10th or 11th.
Rolando, start time.
Hey, wanna go car shopping with me this weekend? Again? Why is it taking you so long to buy a car? I'm trying. Cars are hard to find. I've looked everywhere. Everywhere? Have you checked Roto.com? Roto.com? Yes. Roto has exactly what you want. Available cars. And at great prices. Enjoy our fashion. Oh my Roto, that's a lot of cars. The wait is over. Find new and pre-owned cars available right now by downloading the Roto app or check out Roto.com. The How to Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number 1 rule of cheap travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Folly, it might not be on your radar, but if the price was right, it should be. Right, yeah, when you think it's tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You locked your cat up the tree?
Yeah, he's way up there. I'm scared to come down.
Hang on, I'll get him for you.
Be careful, mister.
Thanks, kid. Here you go.
Where did he come from? And where's your mask and cape?
What? Oh, no, your mom and dad called us to clean out your shower drain.
What?
They were up a tree, too.
Really?
Your drain was really clogged, backing up, and we have to stop that nasty stuff from invading your bathroom.
So you're a hero?
Try to be every day. We're rooter heroes.
Wow.
We make sure you live in a safe, clean house. Go on.
Thanks for us being doors.
It's what a hero does.
If you have plugged in, call Reader Hero coming in air. Go online at ReaderHero.com.
You should choose your air purifier like your life depends on it because, well, it's just life. The recent Ohio chemical disaster showed us toxic air threatens our health. ViralRabbi is the next generation in home air purification. It's specifically designed to wipe out airborne viruses, germs, and chemicals known to cause allergies, illness, and difficulty breathing. Even toxic fumes from the recent train derailment were no match during ViralRabbi. A single ViralRabbi unit removed 99% of the dangerous compounds that were found in the homes near the chemical disaster. If it can clean the air after a toxic spill, imagine how it can help keep your family healthy. Only ViralRabbi comes with a free air quality monitor. Visit ekpure.com and use the promo code Conway for 10% off your ViralRabbi home purification unit. Plus, you get the free air quality monitor and fast free shipping. That's $150 savings. Visit ekpure.com, promo code Conway. ekpure.com, promo code Conway.
Southern California Edison wants you and your family to be prepared in an emergency. What's in your safety kit? A little preparation can go a long way. You should have an easy-to-reach kit that includes basic necessities like first aid supplies, emergency food, water, medication, and important phone numbers. That's a start, but there's more. Learn about other tools and supplies you can prepare with at SED.com/beprepared.
Golden Voice Prison, Powered Trip. Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, BBC, Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Cool. You'll have to get tickets for the entire Power Trip weekend. VIP cabin at the Safari Bay Campground. All thanks to Golden Voice. Register now to buy tickets at powertrip.live. On sale tomorrow Portions of the following program will be recorded. Wake Up Call with Jennifer Jones. I get up at 2:45 so that you can sleep in until 4:59 so that you're ready to go for Wake Up Call. Live 5 to 6 a.m. on JFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. JFI is the 40th label of most stellar. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Some of the stories that we've been following, the city of LA has offered resources for tenants at the end of COVID emergency protection, and former Vice President Mike Pence won't appeal the order compelling his testimony regarding January 6th. And there was this other Donald Glover story. He is one of the, I would say, he's one of the major stars who's on the rise in the sense of television entertainment. He's done movies, he's done music, and he's obviously exploding on the television scene. And this is point I want to make. We always talk about, or I should say, I often hear from people, how do I get into the entertainment industry? How do I get into radio? How do I get into TV? I had a listener send me her resume the other day because she wanted to get back into entertainment. And I try to tell everybody the same thing. There are two lists you must have. A list of what you know in terms of competency. You know, if you've done something in entertainment, it always helps to know something about your craft or intended craft. And there's the other list of who you know. They're both important, but nothing will be as important as who you know. Sometimes you can slowly develop that list of who you know, but that list is still very important. And I don't want to hear from anyone who wants to try to argue that, no, it doesn't matter who you're connected to. No, it matters who you're connected to. It matters who you are the son of. It matters that who you are the daughter of. It matters who possibly your parents went to college with. All those relationships matter. And here's a perfect example. And I'm not going to rain down on Malia Obama, but I'm going to use her as an example of what Malia Obama, it probably would not have turned out this way for her. Now, she did graduate Harvard, and I'm quite sure she's exceptionally bright. But she's 24 years old, and she's already on her first major TV show, and she's already written for other television shows. And you know, she's the oldest daughter of Barack and Michelle Obama. And she's getting ready to develop her own project, a short film that will be released under Donald Glover's new production company in conjunction with Amazon. Now, Donald Glover, he's obviously no slouch. He's a Golden Globe winner. And he, in the same GQ magazine article, talked about an early conversation that he had with Malia Obama. Quote, the first thing he did was talk about the fact that he will only get to do this once. You're Obama's daughter. So if you make a bad film, it will follow you around. Close quote. Let me stop right there. No. What he meant to say was, and I'm going to put words in his mouth, you are Obama's daughter. That's probably the only reason that you get to sit here and have your own project produced at such a young age. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of people would like that same opportunity? I'm not saying that she was not qualified. I'm not saying that. I'm saying she does not even get in the door, sit in the chair, have the conversation, get the meeting, have the opportunity to produce her own TV show or write for a number of TV shows by the time she's 24. I'm telling you this because I know this business so very well. And I am not begrudging her for any level of quote-unquote nepotism or how her last name has opened the door for her. But I would want everyone, if you're serious about being in this business, you have to go in eyes wide open. And it's full of sexism, it's full of nepotism, it's full of just about every ism that you can think of, and that's how unfair this business is. Now, if you have someone with a famous last name that you're very close to or you're related to, more power to you. But anyone who wants to say that it's all about you and your work ethic and, you know, your talent level, no, you need some help in this business. There is someone who has always opened the door for someone else. Someone opened the door for me. Someone has given me an opportunity over the years. I'm quite sure someone has given Stephanie, someone has given Amy King an opportunity. We all need help somewhere along the way. But sometimes your last name is that help. Sometimes your last name will get you that meeting. Sometimes your last name will get you that opportunity. Sometimes it'll get you that internship that everybody else wants when we're 19 and 20 years old, but we wouldn't get. Because there's a quid pro quo here. Who doesn't want to be next to power? Who doesn't want to be able to say, yes, on my staff is the daughter of a former president? That works both ways. And so, again, I want to be real clear. I'm not begrudging her success, but I think it highlights the point in this business. It does matter what you know, but it's more important who you know. Because the who you know will put you in positions and places and spaces that the what you know simply can not. It's later with Mo Kelly. Say by AMC Corey, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Not just video and talk, it's more. KSI. Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Officer involved shooting at a King live from the KFI 24-hour news channel. A person wanted to murder the shot and killed by police in Vernon. Police and several agencies were searching a homeless camp in the LA River that early this morning when they spotted the man who ran off and went into a nearby truck yard. Cops say he attacked a police officer, tried to grab her gun, and punched her in the face before he was shot. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy welcomed Taiwan's President Qin In-wen for a meeting at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley.
Taiwan's president has been traveling to some of her government's few remaining allies. While the U.S. doesn't have diplomatic ties with Taiwan, there's been increasing focus on it in the face of growing Chinese aggression.
ABC's Mark Remelez says the meeting marks McCarthy's most significant foray into foreign affairs as House Speaker, especially because he is outspoken in his criticism of China. China responded to a visit by then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan last August with its largest live-fire drill in decades. News brought to you by W Power Services. A park in Burbank had to be evacuated, and the hazmat team called out to look into a possible chlorine leak. Burbank Fire urged people to avoid the area this morning after the mayor tweeted, "The air in the park reeks of chlorine." MyBurbank.com said there might have been a mishap involving a truck delivering chemicals to the pool in the Cambridge Park on North Rhinos Boulevard. 2 people had to be evaluated by paramedics. The Huntington Beach City Council voted 4-3 against moving forward with a state-required housing plan. Council members say the city is 95% built out and no room for 13,000 new housing units. Mayor Pro Tem Gracie Vandermark says many new units would impact clean air, water, public safety, and the environment.
I do not believe the benefits of building outweigh the consequences of destroying our city, quality of life, and sacrificing our endangered wildlife.
The city is suing the state over the housing mandate. The state has also sued the city for not doing the work to make sure Huntington Beach is held accountable and is in compliance with state law. Kansas has banned transgender athletes from girls and women's sports from kindergarten through college. The legislature overrode the governor's third veto in 3 years of the bill to ban trans athletes a day after state lawmakers passed a broad bathroom bill. The bill would prevent trans people from using public restrooms associated with their gender identity. 19 other states have imposed restrictions on trans athletes. The Kansas law takes effect July 1st. The U.S. has announced another shipment of military aid for forces in Ukraine that includes about $500 million in ammo and equipment. Pentagon said yesterday it will spend more than $2 billion to buy munitions, radar, and new weapons to help Kyiv counter drones in the coming months.
We are very focused on these very practical steps that can be taken and need to continue to be taken to bring Ukraine up to NATO standards.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the aid will be taken from military stockpiles so Ukraine can defend itself. The package includes at least 2 new weapons systems that are designed to counter drones, specifically one made by Iran. The treatment using supercharged immune cells appears to work against tumors in children with a rare type of cancer. Researchers in Italy say 9 of the 27 children it studied had no sign of cancer 6 weeks after the treatment. 2 later relapsed and then died. Experts say this is the first time researchers have gotten such encouraging results using CAR-T cell therapy. 11 kids were alive when the 3-year study ended. Dr. Carl Dean at the University of Pennsylvania says without that therapy, those kids were destined to die. top golfers getting ready to tee off at the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. Tiger Woods is one of them, but he says he doesn't know how many Masters he has left in him. He says he knows more guys on the Champions Tour, which is for seniors, than on the regular tour. Tiger's now 47. He says his game is still limited after his near career-ending crash in low and health states after the Genesis Open in 2021. But he says he feels better than he did at last year's Masters. The tournament is underway tomorrow. Southland weather can have highs to skies overnight with lows in the 40s to low 50s. Sunny, a little bit warmer tomorrow. Highs in the low to mid 70s with the beaches in metro LA. Mid to upper 70s for inland Orange County and the valley. Low to mid 70s for the inland Empire. Look for 50s to mid 60s in the Antelope Valley. Sunny, a little bit cooler on Friday, then warming back up as we head into Easter weekend. It's 54 in Dana Point, 58 in Long Beach, 57 in Madera Ranch, 59 in Baldwin Park. It's back in East LA on the 10.
That's heading eastbound just before Eastern Avenue. Solo car wreck blocking the left lane for the heavy riders and come away from Soto Street. We're on the 5 northbound in Mission Viejo. There's a cone zone there that's in between Oso Parkway and Aliso Parkway. The right lane is closed off until 6 tomorrow morning, so watch for delays if you approach that area. And the 15 northbound at the Cajon Pass, there's still a stalled car that's blocking the middle lane just before Craig Point. Traffic is backed up to about Kenwood. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster on Pedro Moreno. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together. Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number? Nope. Oh no. You've been stolen. BlackRock Minority Nation needs you to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, you'll work to protect them. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Did you know you can get your prescription for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's a free app that can save you money on your medication. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Walgreens, and Walgreens. And it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, text GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Exclusively at Sunny Dental is Infinity. It's the latest technology in new teeth of the day. That's procedure. Infinities are individually milled custom zirconia crowns that are more durable, lighter, and stronger than their competitors. Infinities will give you the natural look and feel of real teeth. Call now and get free exam, CT scan, and X-ray. A $1,500 value, you get it free. Bring in any written offer from a competitor, and Sunny Dental will beat that deal. Easy financing options available. Call 888-640-SMILE, 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 SunnyDental.com. Restrictions apply.
The House Money Podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule is to travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Quality, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right, yeah, when you take a tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Rosetta Stone, where language is learned. RosettaStone.com.
ASI.
More stimulating.
And iHeartRadio station.
KFI AM 240 and later we're no Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Let's talk music. You may remember those. Sweet Styling, that's Mason on the mic, part of Ricky Tribe. You may remember they joined us in the studio performing live. Well, they have a very special occasion coming up, or a performance that I heard about for Toronto. And they're joining me in the studio right now. We have Rita, we have Mason, we have Thomas Fusion on podcast. That's where all the mics on are opened up. There you go. Good to see you guys again.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you. It's good to hear you as well. And we have a big concert performance coming up. Let's dive right into that because they know you're history as a band of more than 100 years and 4 generations, and now they get to see all that and hear all that more broadly. So I guess, we're going to go age before beauty, or we're going to go beauty before age. Beauty before age, so you go for, you are the humble one, so yeah. We'll let the young ones go first.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Just talking about the concert, Bottle Girl, April 16th at 7:30. We got 23 or 28, how many more tickets do we have?
Less than 23 tickets left.
So we just want you guys to come out, support, fill out the venue, hear some real good music that stems from, it's going to be both albums, Generations and Next Level, and some new songs that are going to be created on the new album coming out.
I've been to the Viral Grill 4 or 5 times, and it's a wonderful, intimate venue. It's great for intimate performances. It's not for huge bands, it's for music connoisseurs, I would say. In other words, you're going to hear every instrument, you're going to hear every voice, and it's more for music lovers, I would say. What attracted you to that specific venue beyond what I've been saying?
I would say definitely our percussionist, Ricky Garcia. He definitely was the one that introduced us to the potential of performing at this location. And
also, it's really cool.
Yeah. When our dad brought us there to get a lay of the land and everything, it was just like, we can work with it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I think it also just what we're singing and the songs that we have with it, intimate songs. They're very, I would say, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but like musicians that forward, like they have all live musicians with technical skill, but the music is just so raw and makes you feel a lot of things, and I think that this venue would be a perfect way to just piggyback off of that whole intimate feeling to get it in the song.
I like how
But having a nice dinner with low lights and a nice glass of wine, just looking over and seeing a nice band just playing music. Oh my God, that's just
I really got there because he talks about it in the abstract, but we're old enough to remember that's how it always was. When you went to see a live band, it was usually in an intimate setting, and you would be having dinner, and the band would be playing for the better part of the evening. They'll play a set over the course of the evening, and you got to enjoy real music in a real intimate setting. And if anything, I would encourage people to go because you don't have these types of opportunities all that often. And so Thomas, my question to you is, what do you think will be going through your mind when review some of your history when you talk about the many generations that this musical family has been together? What's going to be going through your mind when you're performing with the children?
Well, to see the debut performance with the group Living Tribe, it's just exciting because we're going to do 9 pieces on stage with 3 horns, the bass, and the quartet, along with percussionist Ricky Garcia from Phil Collins. And the thing I think that's going through the mind is being able to be blessed to be able to do this with my children, and to be able to be speaking on another level, on another language without talking, and just being able to vibe and hear them expressing and then vibe back on that. The place opens for dinner at 6, our concert. We're doing a full 90-minute concert starting at 7:30. And it's really about bringing everyone in. Teresa was calling it Welcome to the Rhythm Lounge. And it's our own Rhythm Lounge. And we're taking people on that journey, on that night. And so that's really what I'm feeling, especially with you've been rehearsing. And it's just so exciting to do something like this.
If you're just sitting in on speaking to the members of Rhythm Tribe, you may remember when they were originally on later with Moselle. They performed in studio, Thomas Sanchez, and also his children, Brisa and Nathan. And let me ask you this. When we talk about vibrato, and it is vibrato, grill, jazz, etc., it's at 2930 Beverly Glen Circle in Los Angeles. Do you think, this is for both of you groups and nations, do you think that there will be any nerves on your part?
Of course.
You want to take that away, please? It's already kicked in.
When we got enough, like when we got hit up to be asked to perform there like months ago, and like my stomach started taking its toll. You know what I mean? So,
Big shout out to Edie Alford for bringing us in.
but like, I wanted to, because when you talked about how like the performance was like concerts back in your guys' time when you guys were in your prime. You know, you guys were still fine.
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome. So in you guys' time, the usual was like how we were about to perform.
Absolutely.
I was like Mason took me out to my first concert, and it was Amy Martin's, and it was at what was that?
So the House of Blues.
And that was probably the most intimate experience I've ever had, and that is nothing compared to what the Bravado Girls set up is. Like literally sitting on a table and then staging right there.
You are like in everyone's meal.
Yeah, I could breathe on you will be there.
The best concerts I've ever been to have been intimate venues because there's no hiding. You can't hide. The musicians, usually you're performing in front of very knowledgeable folks. Right? And to hear everything you do, they hear the intonations, they hear what I call the rest, they hear the styling of it. You know, sometimes the notes are in the pauses, not in the actual utterances. And you'll have more of the actual music connoisseur. So if you're just sitting and we're talking to Rhythm Side, when we come back, we're going to talk more about the JG concert. Yes, I know it's 4 generations over 100 years, but this iteration of Rhythm Side, the JG concert at Vibrato Grill, which is at 2930 Beverly Glen Circle in Los Angeles, on April 16th at 6 p.m. They're going to get the stage at 7:30 p.m. So more in just a moment. It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Now let's go to the KFI 24-hour newsroom. And you can.
A crane operator died after the crane he was operating toppled onto the power line near Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. Firefighters had to wait to try to rescue the operator until the power line was turned off. It's not clear what caused his death. Of course, Canyon Road has been closed from PCH to Canyon Road. 3 people who may have OD'd on drugs have been found dead inside an apartment building on Skid Row. LA fire says another person had possibly OD'd in the same place last night, but regained consciousness and didn't want to be taken to the hospital. As lawmakers debate whether to ban TikTok nationwide, its parent company has stealthily introduced a new app. It's called Lemonade. It's a photo-based app that also has video, like TikTok. The app was introduced to the U.S. in February. So far, about 300,000 people have downloaded it. Clear tonight, sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the low to upper 70s. Okay, has cleared in East LA and Canada.
Eastbound at Eastern Avenue, it's been moved out of the left lane off the freeway now. Traffic is recovering, but watch for a little bit of traffic as you pass Soto Street. Also in East LA, if you're on the 7th and actually the 5 heading northbound, that's going to be right at Calzona. Crash there blocking the right lane, causing some delays from about Atlantic and the 101 southbound in Silver Lake. Approaching Silver Lake Boulevard, a bit of slowing there that'll start to ease up for you as you approach the 110. KFI in the sky, help you get your best answers. I'm Pedro Moreno.
This report is sponsored by Insperity, providing scalable HR services, access to better benefits, payroll, and HR technology for over 35 years. Insperity's mission is to help businesses succeed so communities prosper. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. Visit Insperity.com. The House Money Podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule to travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right. Yeah. When you take the tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Rolando. National Beer Day is coming, so I'd like to book a room for Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Now you've got reasons to visit the leader.
Exactly.
supercharged. You've been dreaming about it, sliding behind the wheel, firing up that engine, and taking off. But for too long, the dream was all it was, because car lots everywhere have been virtually empty until now. At Roto.com, the car shortage is finally over. Shop an incredible selection of cars available right now. No waiting for inventory. No settling for less than what you want. Ready to hit the road? Get the car you want at a great price today. Start saving now by downloading the Roto app or check out ROTO.com. The job market is tight. There are 10 million job openings in the U.S. Less than 6 million people are looking for work. No wonder it's hard to find qualified hourly employees. Let me suggest JobGet.com, the unique way for you to connect with qualified job seekers. Now, with other hiring sites, you get resumes from candidates who don't meet the criteria, aren't near you, or are hard to reach. JobGet is different. Your top candidates already have the skills you need. You're only talking to workers in your area, office assistants, managers, cleaning, maintenance, receptionists, sales associates, retail, even dog attendants. Quote, with one click, most employers get their first applicant within minutes. Businesses report 10 times better hiring conversions on JobGet, and you save 20% per job post. Try it for free at jobget.com/handle, jobget.com/handle. I'm Martin Hope, the inventor of Navaj Nasal Care, and I love Navaj. I told you about how your nose is the body's air filter. The Navaj's powered suction will help flush out allergies, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navaj will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navaj? Like Tara, quote, my doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navaj uses suction power, so it's foolproof. They're nice when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such relief. It's become a lifesaver. Unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navaj. The all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navaj is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navaj, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Pray.com's meditative prayer contact is the best way to bring God's perfect peace into your life. Each meditative prayer helps you focus on God, fight anxiety, sleep better, and more.
Close your eyes. Ask God to come and have fellowship with you. Open yourself to the Holy Spirit and ask for forgiveness and healing.
Listen to meditative prayer on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
There are so many headlines every week for business, tech, banking, even artificial intelligence. That fire hose of news can overwhelm. Every week, we sift through those headlines, dismiss the scary and the stupid, and focus on the smart and important. That's macro, as in macroeconomics. And that macro take matters to all of us. Macro with Jason Middleton. This Sunday afternoon at 2 on KFI, AM 640, and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And joining me in the studio, some members of Rhythm Tribe. They have their debut performance. Well, at least this generation of Rhythm Tribe, their debut performance coming up on April 16th, Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Doors open at 6 p.m. at Vibrato Grill, which is 2930 Beverly Glen Circle in Los Angeles. As a matter of fact, even though the show is like 99% sold out, not maybe 99.4% sold out, no exaggeration, we're going to give away a pair of tickets tonight. And I think you would want to have these tickets because I know you're in for a wonderful time and a wonderful venue, more importantly. And there's going to be some great music as well. And also, if you've been there, you know the food is great as well. So it's a great evening all the way around. And we're going to give away some tickets in just a moment. So hang around. It's going to be before the end of the segment. That much I will tell you. So if you need time to pull over or get home or, whatever, get your dialing techniques down, we're going to do that before the end of this segment. And let me come back to you briefly because I know you're going to be leading a lot of the songs and a lot is placed upon your shoulders And I asked you earlier if you would be nervous, but a part of those nerves, is it about dad listening and brother listening, or is it about more broadly the tradition and history of the group itself and you stepping into those shoes in that moment?
That's a good question. I would say it's definitely, it's not, I'm not scared to sing in front of my dad and my brother because they've heard me sound like crap.
Very true. Very honest.
Yeah, it's bad. And but it's, yeah, so that's not what I'm scared of. I have more definitely the pressure of, apologies, like, why did you say that? I'm like, I thought you were going to do this.
No. I'm a musician, so I understand some of the thoughts that may go through your head.
Yeah, like, definitely thinking about just, like, ancestors in the past, and like, they all made their mark. They all were musicians, like, of actual instruments, like, I flex the golden pipe, which is your voice. That's my instrument. So, like, on the level that, every generation of women has played, they play amazing. And like singing is kind of like, it's a perspective. Not everybody thinks you're gonna sound good. Just as long as you feel like you feel good and it sounds good to you, it sounds good to the band, like you kind of just have to, I kind of have to remind myself, like, okay, just stop there. Just stop thinking there. Because if I think more and go down that rabbit hole, I will have a panic. Full blown. It will happen.
I remember our previous conversation, and you were hiding some of your guitar skills later, and you're in the thick of it. You're going to perform. What are some of your thoughts? Possibly will be on your mind, front of mind, from April 16th at Viral. Honestly, I'm just excited. So I'm not new to performing live. I was a band teacher. I both absolutely. Hey,
I was fired these days.
come on. And I was in the drum line, so like on the field, football games, and I was also known as a funny white boy on campus because what's your last name? Exactly. That's my son. That's the funny part.
That's the messed up part.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of.
Well, you can exist in both worlds.
Right. As long as he's funky. That's all we worry about.
But yeah, so when it came to performing, that's nothing new to me. I did talent shows, that whole thing, and so coming into this aspect, I'm definitely very excited. Occasionally the nerves do kick in when I think about the fact like, oh, I actually think it. Yeah, especially in rehearsal, it's just like, okay, what song is it? Oh, it's my song. Oh God.
No, it's not really better than like taking no time.
Do you have a routine as far as warming up your voice, like you work other instrument?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of lip buzzing, a lot of that, and then a lot of stuff just making sure that the sound comes,
A lot of meowing.
A lot of meows. I feel like high school musical. And me and him are rhyming.
And you're making okay, of course, you're just making a lot of sounds with your mouth. It could be different syllables.
Yeah.
Mamo moves.
All that kind of stuff. And then, like, I'll probably sing one of our songs. I'll sing one of those that are on, like, the lower register, because that's kind of like I have to start out in my lower register, kind of like warm up my voice and then, the bass in my voice.
Just come out there screaming.
No, I can't come out there with kind of like my experience. That's true. Like, I will rip my throat. It's not happening.
Now, let me ask you this, Lisa, since you are the youngest in the group and you're also fronting the group, when was the last time, if at any time, your last formal performance with him on any level?
I think the last performance, was that on Zoom? Yeah, the last time. It was like Climate 205, and it was
That's a nice promo.
great. It was a great. I love you guys being so comfortable. You know that.
Well, we love that you coming, but now we're at that point in the program where we have to give away these tickets, a pair of tickets to see Rhythm Tribe on Sunday the 16th. Now we're going to hold these tickets for you and we're not going to put them in the mail, but we want to make sure if you do call in that you want to go and you can go, because it might even be sold out by the end of the show, actually. So give us a call. Actually, it's going to be caller number 6. Give us a call at 800-520-1KFI, 800-520-1534, if you would like to see Rhythm Tribe at the wonderful Vibrato Grill in Los Angeles, Sunday, April 16th. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Rhythm Tribe hits the stage at 7:30. So if you would like to go, you and a guest, the tickets are yours, provided you are caller number 6, 800-520-1K5, 800-520-1534. So Lisa, Thomas, Nathan, Guzman Sanchez, I will see you on Sunday, as I will be there as host and introducing you as a group. So I look forward to not only seeing you, but hearing and enjoying your debut performance.
Yeah, I have it recorded, and I can send you a link. I have it recorded on 2 different machines, but I was watching it right next to my laptop, so the sound quality is gotta be really good.
Yeah, if you guys want to experience real music,
Come on now.
okay? Okay? You guys want to experience the real music from many musicians and respected artists that are on the stage, including Mr. Marcelli. So, please come through. Please join us on an emotional experience. We're going to experience happiness. We're going to experience sadness, confusion, love, hate, and we're going to heal together. That's kind of like what I want all of us to feel when we arrive on stage. And I hope you can heal with us. And I hope you enjoy a nice cocktail and some dinner as you will.
I
got it, and I have it right now. I'm gonna find the exact spot, and I'll send the link so that you all can hear it.
I'm gonna have a little to my right.
And if you want to set up a music before the concert, you can find us on Spotify and Rhythm Tribe, and we also have a slew of music videos on YouTube, also Rhythm Tribe.
Yeah.
And we'll do the same if you like to search the music. You can search that at dancemaster.com. That is our distribution platform. You can find every song that we have recorded so far, including even a live performance.
Yeah.
All stuff is just exploded.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's just exploded. You can see. Oh, you go.
Yeah. Also, you guys want to follow us on Instagram? We are at Rhythm Tribe Official.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all Sunday. I'll probably talk to you before then. So, Thomas, Nathan, Bruce, it's great seeing you. Great hearing you again. And you won't love your love it. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI 8640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Don't go anywhere. We're not done. We have some more to do. Right now, we're going to go to the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Yep, absolutely. I'm just going to find the exact spot, but I do have it recording, and I have it right next to my computer. So, yeah, just give me about 5 minutes, and I'll have it.
Along the sidewalk in Viejo when the car jumped the curb, severely injuring Haley and Kyle Ohlweiler and killing their son Maddie. Police arrested the 54-year-old man on suspicion of driving while on drugs and vehicular manslaughter for killing the baby Sunday. The man was released with no bail amount set, and no charges have been filed against him. More than $170,000 has been raised through a GoFundMe account created for the family to cover medical and funeral expenses.
Can I just send it to you in a message to YouTube?
County Sheriff's deputy been charged with unlawfully possessing an assault rifle and tracer ammunition. The DA's office said yesterday's charges stem from the search of a deputy's home in 2020, where investigators found the unregistered rifle in his closet.
No, it should actually be on the floor. If she has any questions, you can certainly follow up. I can also put it in the chat. Just one moment.
To enforce the ban in LA. A community activist including the race in the special election to fill the seat of former LA City Council member Nuri Martinez. She resigned last year over the leaked audio recording of racist comments she made during a meeting on the district. Padilla so far has more than 25% of the vote. 3 other candidates are close behind for second place. If no one gets the majority of the vote, which is 50% plus 1, there will be a runoff in June between the top 2 candidates. The next update on the vote count is set for Friday afternoon. At least 5 people have been killed by a tornado that tore through southeastern Missouri. The State Highway Patrol says the twister hit a rural area of Ballinger County between 3:30 and 4 in the morning. Several tornadoes also were reported in Iowa and Illinois. Shop owner Milo Vela in Illinois says the high winds damaged his building.
So I took off the filters and threw it in my job and pulled the side of my building and everything just collapsed.
The Storm Prediction Center says up to 40 million people in Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, and Memphis are at risk of storms today.
The Mars helicopter Ingenuity has broken 2 more records. NASA says the helicopter flew 14.5 miles per hour Sunday and hit an altitude of over 52 feet above the surface of Mars. That beats its previous record of 13.4 miles per hour and a top height of 46 feet. Ingenuity's been on Mars since 2021. It's flown 49 flights. It was sent there to do a series of tests and is currently conducting an operations demonstration phase that NASA says will explore how future rovers and aerial explorers can work together. Southland weather from KFI. Clear tonight with lows in the 40s to low 50s. Sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the 70s at the beaches. 70s for Metro LA, inland OC, the valleys and IE. 50s and 60s for the Emerald Valley. Mostly sunny into the weekend with highs by Easter Sunday in the mid-70s to about 80. It's 57 in Garden Grove, 57 in Stockton Valley. We've got our traffic in East LA on the 5.
Northbound difficult business is blocking the right lane, so you're seeing some slowing from the 710. The slowing if you're on the 60 eastbound, that's going to be in Montebello due to a cone zone in between Finlay and Rosary Boulevard. 3 right lanes shut down until 6 tomorrow morning. And if you're on the 15 northbound in the downtown pass, just after the 138, there's a car fire blocking the right lane. That's causing a pretty jammed up drive from Cleghorn. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno.
Exclusively at Huntington is Infinity. It's the latest technology.
So I put this link in that NBC radio discussion, if anybody needs the evidence. It's about 14 minutes of the conversation that I stood up, but you can find quickly what you need, and it does have his perspective.
Call now, get free exams, CT scan, and X-ray. A $1,500 value, you get it free. Bring in any written offer from a competitor, and Huntington will beat that deal. Easy financing options available. Call 888-640-SMILE, 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 HuntingtonDental.com. Restrictions apply.
Seriously, Mike, you just fix the transmission.
We all know how easy it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission expert at Amco. Always like six. AA, MDO. Special financing available. Restrict limitations and proof to demand. Amco.com details. You should choose your air purifier like your life depends on it because, well, it's life. The recent Ohio chemical disaster shows toxic air threatening for health. ViralRabbi is the next generation in home air purification. It's specifically designed to wipe out airborne viruses, germs, and chemicals known to cause allergies, illness, and difficulty breathing. Even toxic fumes from a recent train derailment were no match for ViralRabbi. A single ViralRabbi unit removed 99% of the dangerous compounds that were found in the homes near the chemical disaster. If it can clean the air after a toxic spill, imagine how it can help keep your family healthy. Only ViralRabbi comes with a free air quality monitor. Visit ekpure.com and use the promo code Conway for 10% off your ViralRabbi home purification unit. Plus, you get the free air quality monitor and fast free shipping. That's $150 savings. Visit ekpure.com, promo code Conway. ekpure.com, promo code Conway. If you own a small business lead up to COVID and you were able to return 5 or more employees, you could be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Do the math on that one. That's real money. So let me suggest getrefunds.com. You answer a few questions, takes under 10 minutes, and you'll see if your business qualifies for this tax refund. There's no charge up front. They don't get paid until your business gets paid. And businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPPs and nonprofits, even if you've had increases in sales during COVID. They are experts in the federal loan payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned over $3 billion to businesses. In my business, a six-figure refund. So to find out if your business qualifies, go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button. It only takes a few minutes. Go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com. As America's largest Israel law firm, 5 hours straight. Morgan & Morgan.
KFI AM 640.
The news, what it means, why it matters.
I'm a knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. The answers are praise and praise and fear. I'm going to win.
We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And did you know that three may not be a crowd and never has been? There is a new study. There's always a study which can tell you whatever you want to hear. But the question is, should singles focus on finding the one or just someone? Is it all right to have more than one romantic partner at a time? There's this new study which argues that being in a polyamorous relationship can bring the same physical and emotional benefits of monogamy. Now, of course, in some cultures, there's this stigma you're supposed to be committed to one person, but it's becoming more and more in fashion and in vogue around the world to have a consensual, non-monogamous relationship. Some people may call them open relationships. Some of them may have multiple friends with benefits. I don't know.
Is it short-term, like just dating more than one person, or is it long-term, like marriage kind of relationship?
Long-term, like marriage.
Oh, no.
Look, you know,
That's a murder rate, so
yeah. Because in a relationship like that, if I don't know, I honestly don't know, but in a relationship like that, somebody's getting jealous.
exactly.
There's going to be a problem. According to Justin Clardy, a professor of philosophy at Santa Clara University, modern society often views monogamy as the ideal form of romantic love. It starts in childhood, as many books and films portray true happiness is finding your one true soulmate for life. At the same time, Clardy notes that governments offer financial, legal, and even social incentives to marry couples, such as tax breaks. Meanwhile, the researcher also says people who engage in romantic relationships which stray from the norm are often on the receiving end of public shaming or criticism. Clardy also explains that many legal and political scholars are now debating whether society should reform their policies regarding familial law that would recognize a wider variety of relationships other than the traditional husband-wife relationship. And there's this TV show, it's like Looking for Brother Husband, where it's really, I think it's Lifetime. Let me look it up real quick, or Stephanie can look it up for me. I think it's called Looking for Brother Husband. And they interview potential candidates to be like a husband and a confidant, a friend, and they move in together. Yes, you're right. What are called Seeking Brother Husband. Seeking Brother Husband.
And it's on TLC. It just premiered last week.
I don't get it, America. I just don't get it.
If you know the couples and couples.
Now, there's this idea, there's this fantasy as far as guys go. Okay, I'm aware of the fantasy of having more than one lover for a given occasion. We all know what that's called. Okay, I get all that, but this is not that. This is about having a throuple, a three-person relationship, long-term. I don't see how that works. I know in a guy's mind, yeah, I would like to have 2 wives or 2 girlfriends. And that's how we always think. But I'm saying how that actually works out. Look, I can say this, and I know my wife would agree. She wears my ass out by herself. By herself.
Could you imagine having 2 of her around?
No. One person telling me that I'm getting on her nerves is enough. Me too. One person saying, please go away, is enough. Me too. I think guys, we get caught up in the fantasy of it.
Yeah, it's not all about people.
Right. There are another 23 hours in a day.
Yeah, there's a difference between a couple and a threesome.
Right. They're not the same. And I can't say that I need to stop fucking. They're not the same.
Well, does it say in these relationships whether that's part of it, or do they, I mean, they may have romantic relationships, but then just, still, just one guy, one girl. And then
Yes, so the exact quote of Jarvis is that little five of that video, and I took it from chat and from the video, that me and my boys, we got that, we lost the 8.
Either do not want or cannot
We're
have
going to
children,
record it and
yet this
hopefully
doesn't exclude them from being able to marry and enjoy the rights and privileges that come with marriage, and sometimes that also may mean seeking other partners within that relationship. I actually know someone who is actually involved in a polyamorous
You can have a, if you look at in the chat within this space, so if you look, I've just put what Jarvis said,
and the way it works is that he is married, and he's married, and
I can't really take screenshots, well, of the link you mean? Okay, I could do that, but of the video.
Goes out with. For her, and I asked for a breakdown of this. I asked for a breakdown. How does it work? What does it mean? For her, it is her husband provides one aspect of a nurturing relationship. She dates another man who provides another aspect of a nurturing relationship. And as long as everyone is in the know, everyone is aware of each other, there are no secrets. I'm not teaching out on my husband. He's not teaching out on me. We are all aware of each other. We don't hang out and go to brunch together. And no, we don't all sleep together. That's not what it means. It is an open relationship with clear-cut boundaries set forth for the harmony of the relationship. I just don't see how that math works. The math is the math for you. No, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. And I'm not talking about someone who's cheating in a relationship. I'm talking about an established relationship of multiple people with guidelines, parameters, and boundaries, and with that, expectations of what a partner can and can't not do or is expected to entertain or not entertain.
And in these polyamorous relationships, is it an odd number? Or is it, I mean, like, is it Mo and Wendy and somebody else?
I know.
Or is it like, is it 4 people? So it's kind of like a swinging thing, but it's a permanent arrangement.
It can be however many anyone is willing to fit. There are no limits. So for this individual, he may have one guy that he's going out, and literally all they do is they go out to dinner. There may be some, affection, but there's sexy talk that
Sexy time.
Oh, sexy time. No, there's more sexy talk with one. There is sexy time with another. But it's having an open relationship and being adult about it, and no one being caught up. And when her and her husband got married, it was a true marriage. And then, as they started getting what do you mean by true marriage? True marriage was just those two. There's just a husband and wife. Okay, we're monogamous. That's what it is. And as they got on the years, they said, you know what? This monogamy thing isn't really for me, but I really like a lot of aspects of you. And I love what we have in this relationship, in this marriage. But there are times where I just want to go step out and have a shot of vodka in my cranberry juice. It's a cranberry juice. Okay, well, we got to go to break, but we're not going to let this conversation go. We need to pick this up on the other side. We'll talk to George Norton, and then we'll talk more about throuple. And, this is really uncomfortable, but I'm just, it's not a couple. Okay, 4 couple. Quintuple. No, it's Holly. Why you gotta bring her into it? Polyana?
Polyamorous.
Oh. That's from my girl. I don't like it when my mother texts me and responds to stuff that's not around. I'm not trying to engage my mother on trouble. You're talking about no. Thank you. I got it. Good to know. I just asked for you to weigh in.
You know what she's saying, though? There's no way I can handle more than one daughter-in-law.
I don't.
And that is not a crime against you when you do it wonderful.
KFI 8640, we're live everywhere. I mean, iHeartRadio out now. KFI 25 and so on.
With temperatures in the 70s and 80s expected this weekend and a massive snowpack, officials have warned snow melt could create massive flooding in California. The biggest risk is in the Tulare Lake Basin and other areas of the Central Valley that have already had flooding during the winter storm. A dermatologist from Mission Viejo is been charged with poisoning her husband by putting Drano in his tea. Prosecutor said a woman and her husband have been in a nasty child castigated suit since last year. The husband had a restraining order against his wife since August. That was a month after she allegedly poisoned. Two ride-hailing services that are totally driverless are seeking regulatory approval in one of the most densely populated cities in the U.S. If Cruise and Waymo get their approval, the driverless taxis could be cruising around the streets of San Francisco as early as the end of this year. Today with lows in the 40s to low 50s tonight, sunny with highs in the low to upper 70s tomorrow. Let's check out cash and commerce on the side.
The 55 pound after 710 is in the center of the highway, so watch for delays as we come away from the 101. Cone zone on the 62 front in Montebello and between Finlay and Rosemead Boulevard has the 3 right lanes shut down until 6 tomorrow morning, so watch for delays opposing there. And if you're on the 22 heading westbound, that's going to be in Garden Grove, right at Knott Street. You'll see a crash blocking the right lane. You're having to brake as you approach. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno.
This report is sponsored by Insperity, providing scalable HR services, access to better benefits, payroll, and HR technology for over 35 years. Insperity's mission is to help businesses succeed so communities prosper. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. Visit Insperity.com.
The House Money Podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule to travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price was right, it should be. Right. Yeah, when you take a tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it to come up with money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Rolando. National Beer Day is coming, so I'd like to book a room for Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. Now I'll get top reasons to visit Rolando.
It's not crazy. You have free and money pocket bunny April 9th.
Number 2.
The legendary Bunny Yuki live this Friday.
And the number 1 reason.
Tickets for sunglasses and a chance to outfit the Ravens. You will earn 500 points on the rewards card, the 10th or 11th.
Rolando, good time. If you own a small business and you got through COVID and you were able to retain 5 or more employees, you could be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Do the math on that one. That's real money. So let me suggest getrefunds.com. You answer a few questions, takes under 10 minutes, and you'll see if your business qualifies for this tax refund. There's no charge up front. They don't get paid until your business gets paid. And businesses of all types can qualify, including those at the CCPs and nonprofits, even if you had increases in sales during COVID. They are experts in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned over $3 billion to businesses. In my business, a 6-figure refund. So to find out if your business qualifies, go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me button. It only takes a few minutes. Go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com. You locked your cat up the tree?
Yeah, he's way up there. I'm scared to come down.
Hang on, I'll get him for you.
Be careful, mister.
Thanks, kid. Here you go.
Where did he come from? And where's your mouth and face?
What? Oh, no, your mom and dad called us to clean out your shower drain.
Why?
They were up a tree, too.
Really?
The drain was really clogged, backing up, and we have to stop that nasty stuff from invading your bathroom.
So you're a hero?
Try to be every day. We're Rooter Heroes.
Wow.
We make sure you live in a safe, clean house. Go on.
Thanks for us being doors.
It's what a hero does.
If you know how to plug in, call Reader Hero coming in air. Go online at readerhero.com.
I'm sure somebody's played hardball, but with the Jacoby Myers on your side, you'll level the playing field. With over 50 years of experience, trust Jacoby Myers to protect your rights and get you the compensation you deserve. Call Jacoby Myers, the official law firm of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It's obvious what else, right?
You've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the smell this plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unclog my drain?
$99. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stoppage. The smell this plumber at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99. There are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website, that's snowdiscover.com. Congratulations, the 399 you know your completely free iHeartRadio app is also your home for his podcast? Well, new for you this week, check out On Purpose with Dave Getty, discussing philosophy, life, and conversations with the biggest stars in the world. Listen today on your free iHeartRadio app. What I love about Wake Up Call is that it's a mix of international, but with a national focus of what's happening here. I get to paint the coolest picture in the morning that has just a big, broad brushstroke of what's going on in the world right now, and that's just awesome for me. Wake Up Call with Jennifer Jones, live 5 to 6 a.m. on JFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be hosting Coach AM with George Nori. George, good evening. How you doing, my brother? Good, Mo. Looking forward to tonight's great show. The first couple hours, we're going to talk about doing these nuke power, and later on in the show, following your dreams. So, all right, I can't wait. I'll be tuning in, George. See you soon, Mo. Yeah, absolutely. Before the break, we were talking about this new study which suggests that polyamorous relationships may be just as beneficial, air quotes, as monogamy. And polyamorous doesn't necessarily mean just a third person in a relationship. It could be, according to Wallace, because he's an expert on this and has a friend who lives this lifestyle, could really fall to the number of people in addition to your principal mate. Now, and it kind of led us off into this tangent because I remember that TLC has a new program called Seeking Brother Husband. And it's surrounding polyamorous relationships and how they maneuver that on a day-to-day basis. I just don't see how it works on a long-term basis as a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month. And this is not even a romantic relationship. It was difficult just having one or two roommates when I first moved out. Who's going to do the dishes? Who's going to pay for this bill? Who's going to be responsible for that? How does that work? You don't have to all be living in the same house. Polyamorous doesn't mean we all live together. This isn't a comedy. We're not talking about. Might as well be. No, it is you and La Mujer. You have your relationship. But I'm not going to tell you La Mujer. You call her Wendy. You're not supposed to call her that. Oh, La Mujer. La Mujer. And you guys reach a point where you say, you know what? I love you, but I love you that way. I need to step out. I need to step out. And instead of you ending up on a red table talk getting embarrassed like Will Smith, who act like he doesn't know that Jada was out there ruffling around doing whatever she was doing with her son's best friend. Yes. Instead of that, it is literally both of y'all acting like they're like, hey, world, we are out here doing our thing. Because again, and I think polyamorous relationships and why this article, why it holds some truth is because of how high the divorce rate is, especially among newer couples, younger couples, today's generation that are married today, divorced tomorrow, because of just this. They don't have the same foundation that you and I have. They don't have the same foundation of our parents, so forth and so on. But then they're like, look, I love you right now, but I want to love this girl or this guy tomorrow. And instead of having the divorce, or both, instead of being divorced and all that next year, it's like, okay, cool. Well, I want the same over here. I'll see you later on.
I knew someone was going to see that. I was like, well, it's on camera. There you go, baby.
And you're out there dating Joe. We both know who they are. I think Joe was good. Cool.
No, because when you come home, I was gonna.
Wait. But there are understandings. There are understandings that conversations have to be clear. No one is going into this blind. No one is just like, I don't know what's happening.
I don't think anybody can communicate that well.
Okay, I hate to get in a relationship, but since my mom has been brought into this, my wife has been brought into this, I feel like I need some help here. Okay. And I think you're the only one that I can confirm who's in a relationship right now. That's why I'm picking on you. Okay. So let's just say you brought this article home to your girlfriend and said, this was interesting. Mom was talking about this on the air. And I don't know what to think of it.
That's absolutely right. I have nothing to hide, not even my own booger eating. If you do want to know about that, though, I've read studies that show it's a good thing, that it's like basically dead skin cells and things in there. So I don't know. I've been doing it since I was a little kid.
It's one of those things where, guys, we always think about the fantasy portion, not the reality portion. We always think of the night of, not the morning after. And I don't know how this works from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, Thursday to Friday. I agree to all of when your friend was talking about how a woman may have a man to this and a man to that. I've long thought that a woman will keep a man together first. Here's a friend who's easy to talk to. Here's a friend who likes to go shopping with. And here's a friend who likes to blow out her back. I understand that. I get all that. But it's as far as a long-term, agreed upon situation.
And this isn't just a friendship.
Right.
Because I mean, I've got guy friends, I've got gal friends,
It's a relationship. It is a relationship.
Yeah,
And it don't have to be forever. Like, those who are in polyamorous relationships, they don't subscribe to the same concept of relationships as any of us do. I think we are of a different generation, of a different mindset, but this is a mindset that says we don't have to have these parameters. We don't have to have these handcuffs. The reason that you all are divorced or single or whatever is because you all are stuck on the handcuffs. Yeah, I would go crazy in between. I would go crazy. I don't know emotionally where right and wrong would begin and end. Even with an explicit conversation, it's hard enough to manage a relationship with one person. That's part of the reason why I got married. I don't have to deal with the stuff when I was just dating. There's just too much drama, too much ugh.
Right, and part of it is the whole trust issue, right? I mean, like, you have to implicitly trust the person. So if you know that they're going out and having some sort of an amorous relationship with another person, how can you trust them, or you just get above you?
9 times out of 10, people who are stepping out and no one knows, and then when they find out, they're divorced. I don't know if that's a good enough rationale. But that's what's happening 9 times out of 10.
Thank you so much, Neil G. You just get RawRabbi 24/7, 365. You never know what you're going to get.
I want the Polly.
Polly's fine. Polly is sexy. We'll see y'all tomorrow. KFI 8640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Yeah, great thing that's going on. Luckily, that's a little hobby of ours. KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, California.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Harsh words. I mean, saying that live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, the Chinese consulate in Los Angeles has strongly condemned today's meeting between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Taiwan's President Xing Wen at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, despite repeated warnings from China against such a meeting.
It is clear that today, the peace that we have maintained and the democracy we have worked hard to build are facing unprecedented challenges.
And Wen says Taiwan is grateful to have the U.S. outside during this time. And when transit through L.A. comes, the China continues to claim the island as its own territory. China's reacted to past meetings between the U.S. and Taiwan, which shows a force, and by pulling back on dialogue with the U.S. Metro may have to cut services or raise fares to make up for the end of pandemic-related federal funding.
People think COVID relief money is expected to run out within 2 years. And with the sharp drop in ridership in LA and around the state, Metro and other transit agencies will have to take drastic measures to make up the difference. According to reporting in Cal Matters, Governor Newsom's budget for next year is expected to include a $25 billion deficit.
Recording this from the dog. Recording this from dog. High five. Oh, dog.
So ridership statewide dropped from 1 million in February of 2019 to around 20 million in June of 2020.
A technology executive who created Cash App and was serving as chief product officer of Mobile Coins has been stabbed to death in San Francisco. San Francisco police say officers found Bob Lee suffering from stab wounds yesterday on Main Street early in the morning. Mobile Coins is Lee is survived by a loving family and several close friends. Police say they have not made any arrests. A woman has been arrested for carrying a rifle into Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. Police say SWAT officers responded to the scene this morning, and the whole building was on lockdown for several hours. A woman was later arrested and taken to a hospital for evaluation. Israeli police have raided a mosque in Jerusalem to try and clear groups that said were barricaded inside. ABC from SBO to terrorists. Palestinian militants in Gaza responded with rocket fire on southern Israel, prompting repeated Israeli airstrikes. The fighting comes as Muslims mark the month of Ramadan and Jews prepare to begin the Passover festival on Wednesday evening. Hamas did not claim responsibility for the rocket attacks, but said they were a response to the raid on the Aqsa Mosque. The compound in Jerusalem's Old City is Islam's third holy site. And a company in Southern California called Bifusion Global is turning tons of non-recyclable plastic into things people can build with.
Physically, there's only a couple different types of plastic that can even be recycled.
Bifusion CEO Heidi Kujawa says plastic that can't be recycled ends up in landfills or incinerated. But tons, almost ceiling-high piles of that plastic come here to Bifusion's warehouse in Gardena. Heidi and the team sort through the piles and get it ready to go into a machine they developed that compresses 22 pounds of plastic waste into a rectangular block.
By that look and feel just like a hollow cement block does.
But it's lighter, more durable, and can be stacked to make a wall within minutes.
I love it when people ask us, what can you build with 5-block? And I often say, well, what can you build with a 2x4?
Last year, Bifusion took on more than 130 tons of plastic from the Pacific garbage patch. Heidi says the goal is to recycle 100 million tons of plastic by 2030.
Put as much plastic waste to work as quickly as possible.
For more, you can go to secondweek1.com. So Quan, hit on you. South End with us in KFI. Clear overnight with lows in the 40s to low 50s. Sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the low to upper 70s to most areas. 50s and 60s in the Middle Valley. A little bit cooler on Friday, then warming back up as we head into the weekend with highs in the 70s to about 80 by Easter Sunday. It's 55 in Yorba Linda, 58 Irvine, 56 in Carson, 55 in Huntington Beach. That comes on Marcelo on 65.
This is on the Italy to Rosie Boulevard. Cal says that's the 3 right lanes shut down for road work until 6. Your drive is bunching up as you approach. And it's orange. This is on the 405 northbound. Yeah, the compound car taking up the right lane there. Focus on the scene. Watch the slowing in that area. In the road, there is a Brookstone 71 southbound from Butterfield Ranch Road all the way to the 91. Right lane's going to be shut down for road work until 5. KFI, the sky, hope to get you there faster. I'm Brian,
Why are we funded by Albertsons and Barnes? It's not too much for the blue stock. Barnes and Albertsons pharmacies make it easy. They're free with most insurance and walk-ins are welcome. Or skip the line by making an appointment online. Prescription supplies. Pick up a pharmacy for details.
Do you have coins, jewelry, or precious metals, and are looking to sell for top dollar? Still Digital CEO and owner of Tangible Investments has become legendary by beating the so-called competitors' offers on these items by as much as 500%.
I had a diamond ring that been there with my family for many years, so I went to a local jewelry store and they offered me $600. I just wasn't comfortable. I took it down to Tangible Investments and they offered me over $6,000. That store is absolutely awesome.
Stories like these are why Tangible Investments has become America's top dealer in precious metals, jewelry, and collectibles, and why Phil has been featured on CNBC and quoted on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Over the past 30 years, Tangible Investments has bought billions in collectibles. That's billions with a B. Right now, demand is through the roof. Phil encourages all his clients to shop the competition and then call him last. You'll be amazed at the difference. Guaranteed. Call now for an absolutely free, professional, no-obligation appraisal. 800-711-2800. 800-711-2800. 800-711-2800.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen his social security number? No. Oh, no.
He said it's stolen. BlackRock Minority Mission needs you to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, you're worse than victim. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here. The How to Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule to travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Sorry, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right. Yeah, when you take a tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Celebrate Easter with a little help from Stater Brothers. We make it easy with freshest free vegetables and delicious Oh, Smithfield viral spice half ham are just $1.99 a pound.
Like,
Your
viral
family
fun
will
is
have on
you know, they
French
can.
bone, ribeye roast, together $5.99 a pound. Fresh asparagus and Brussels sprouts at $1.99 a pound. Or freshly prepared sides and party trays from our cabbage deli. And don't forget,
But lady, we don't have
flowers. Happy Easter from Easter Budget Market. Country Year
Take them in.
From the City of Angels, near the Pacific Ocean. Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm George Norrie. This is
Like, you know what?
Coast
Let's
City
just make it
Hour tonight. Awaken your inner genius. Follow your dreams. Happy birthday, by the way, to Coach listener Virginia Kellum, 88 years old. Have a great one, Virginia.
Yeah, somebody be like,
Here's what's happening. North Korea has accused the United States and South Korea of escalating tensions to the brink of nuclear war. Due to its joint military drill, vowing to respond with offensive action. Let's see what happens out there. President Biden has another Democratic challenger vying for the presidency following Robert F. Kennedy filing paperwork with the Federal Election Commission. Kennedy is the son of the late former U.S. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy and nephew of the late former President John F. Kennedy. He's now the second Democrat to toss his hat into the race for the White House, joining spiritual advisor and author Marianne Williamson and seeking the party's nomination. I texted Kennedy later today. He replied back to me more after April 19th, so we'll see what happens. The case that Manhattan prosecutors have brought against former President Donald Trump for allegedly falsifying business records to disguise hush money payments related to the 2016 campaign presents legal questions that make the prosecution risky, not impossible, according to legal experts. How Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has laid out his allegations against Mr. Trump has attracted skepticism among election law scholars and white-collar defense attorneys. But other experts stress that Bragg has a case that could end in a guilty verdict and that his legal theories are on solid but untested ground. Let's check in with Brandon Weissart, who, of course, is the internationally recognized geopolitical analyst. Brandon, what do you think of this entire thing regarding the forward president?
Well, thanks, George, for having me. It's a pleasure to be back. I think that this is probably a very, as they say, untested case. Say this is one of those trial balloons. If they can make it stick, President Trump has got two other cases he's got to worry about. One in the Washington, D.C. grand jury, which is investigating his supposed mishandling of classified documents, and then another one in Georgia, which is going after him for supposedly trying to manipulate or rig the 2020 presidential election. So I think what probably is happening here is Alvin Bragg is testing the waters. This is the first of two other, or three other rather, cases that they're taking against Donald Trump. We know that the next date for this particular Manhattan trial about Attorney Daniel Turnoff is set for December 9th, and we know that this is probably going to last the entirety of the 2024 presidential election cycle, this Manhattan investigation. So whether or not the Alvin Bragg office can get a conviction, President Trump is going to have to be dealing with this for the duration, probably at least for the next 8 months. And certainly, if Bragg does get his conviction, President Trump will not be out of the legal water. He'll still have to deal with those other two more serious cases in Washington, D.C. and Georgia.
And you continue to think that he will run for president?
I think at this point, in his mind, he doesn't have any choice. I think that whatever secrets he had has now been revealed in this indictment. There are 34 charges brought against him, felonies. One of the things that was mentioned in the prosecutor's statement of facts to the press was that Trump is suspected of having paid $30,000 to his doorkeeper, Joe Dorman, to keep quiet about an alleged affair he had with his housekeeper, which resulted in a love child, which was unconfirmed. But there was also accusations during prosecutor Levy about how Donald Trump also did hush money payments supposedly to Karen McDougal, who was a Playboy playmate that he was supposedly having an affair with in 2006, and he says that that is indeed what happened, although that was not included in the actual charges. But there's so much coming out. I think Trump has nothing left to lose, and also I think if he is found guilty, while this going on. He's going to want to win. Unfortunately, so he can dishearten himself. So that's why I think he's going to keep running. We'll see what happens. Thank you, President. Thanks, George.
Cash App founder Bob Lee stumbled on the sidewalk early Tuesday morning, clutching at a wound in his side. The 43-year-old Lee was stabbed around 2:30 in the morning just outside the financial district of the residential area near Google's headquarters with 2 restaurants and bars. No suspect. A recall issued by the Volkswagen Group of America for over 142,000 Ford utility vehicles is underway. Airbag situation. Walmart is laying off more than 2,000 workers at 5 U.S. warehouses that fulfill website orders weeks after America's largest private employer warned in its report that it's in for a very tough year ahead. Registered investment advisor Mitch Sedbach with us. Mitch, not good news.
Tough year is correct, George. I think that's the right phrase. Now, it's 2,000 jobs isn't a lot, but it's 1,000 jobs in Texas, 600 in Pennsylvania, 400 in Florida, 200 in New Jersey. But people have been saying for months now, well, this is just manufacturing, this is just goods. The ISM came out with a survey today that was, we were talking about services. The backlog of orders plunged in a contraction. New export orders plunged 18 points. New orders across the board plunged 10 points. The 2. And the results at the job labor turnover survey from the BLS, came out yesterday. They're showing still almost 10 million job openings, down from 12 million. You can see what the trend is. But before pandemic, the average was maybe 8 million job openings. But I'm wondering, George, and I've been wondering this for a long time, George, how real are these jobs? And I came across a survey today from Clarify Capital that did some research, and a lot of these positions have been open for 6 months. They did a study, they called up to find out about these jobs, and a lot of these jobs are ghost jobs. And here's some of the reasons they're giving for having these fake openings. To placate overworked employees, they forgot to delete the job, to give the impression the company is growing, to keep current employees motivated. The jobs we fill, there's no cost to having these jobs out there. And if the exact right person comes along, sure, they're going to they'll hire that person. But, all of these job stats have been, really distorted ever since COVID. So when I look at these numbers and they talk about 10 million openings or 12 million openings, I never believed it. Now we've got a study to prove that. One more interesting point here, George. The Loretta Mester, that's the Fed president of the Cleveland Fed, she gave a speech yesterday, and I found that she said they want to minimize the pain of the journey. Unquote. Now, George, the Fed is largely responsible for this problem, and they're disavowing any guilt on perhaps of their own part. They're saying that it wasn't them, it was Russia, it was pandemic, we didn't see this thing coming, and now they want to minimize the pain of the journey. Wow. All right, my friend, we'll talk to you next week. We'll see what happens. Robert Zubrin up next. Normally Robert's on the air to talk with us about Mars. Not this time. The case for Newt, and he's next on Coast to Coast AM. Tax season can be taxing on your identity because all your personal information is all in one place, getting emailed, shared, and possibly exposed to identity thieves. Tax forms can be like one-stop shops for ID thieves, which means this can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. Protection against identity theft is easier with LifeLock by Norton. LifeLock by Norton helps monitor your info and alert you to potential identity threats, and if you do become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it
during tax season and beyond. No one can prevent all identity theft and monitor all transactions at all businesses. But you can make sure your identity theft protection starts here. Join LifeLock today. Save up to 25% off your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to LifeLock.com and use promo code George. That's LifeLock.com. Use promo code George to save 25% off. That's LifeLock.com. Fun and Adventure has returned comics and graphic novels from Marvelous Entertainment, based on the thrilling sci-fi masterpieces by Marvin Thunder. Acclaimed comic creator Andy Fish and his team are bringing that wonder and thrills in straight-out action adventures like those great old comic book stories you remember in their line of sight. Pocket Planet, Space Marine, codename Atom Bomb, Tales of Singularity, and the kid-oriented Waggit Geek. Join them at iWaggit.com. That's iWaggit.com. Execution of 11 Junior, but he's trying to convince us he's gone in green. Therefore, enter the local next day. On the people who choose Edward, son of Edward. I am the people. If you no control. It's time to tell you what it would like you to do. The fairy has with it arm of the message without your hideous available you. And welcome back to Coast. George Dory with you. Robert Zublin with us, holding master's degrees in aeronautics and astronautics and a doctorate in nuclear engineering. He is the inventor of several unique concepts of space propulsion and exploration. As an engineer at Lockheed Martin, he co-developed the Mars Direct plans for affordable manned Mars missions. Robert is now president of his own space R&D company called Pioneer Astronautics. Most recently, he founded the Mars Society, an international organization dedicated to furthering the exploration and settlement of Mars by both public and private means. Welcome back. Robert, how have you been?
I'm doing good, and thanks for inviting me.
Looking forward to this. When Lisa was telling you were coming on the show, I'm saying, okay, we'll talk about Mars, we'll do this, we'll do that. No, the case for nukes. Tell me about it.
Well, this is my new book. It just was published this week. Its full title is The Case for Nukes, How We Can Beat Global Warming and Create a Free, Open, and Magnificent Future. And that's what the book is about.
Now, you support this, don't you?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I'm originally a nuclear engineer. I worked in nuclear power and also in fusion research. Before I went into aerospace, I was hired by Martin Marietta, which is now Lockheed Martin, to do some nuclear propulsion stuff for them. And then when that contract ran out, I get shifted into other kinds of aerospace, and most of my career has been in aerospace since then. But, you know, you've got people using this issue of carbon emissions as a justification for reactionary policies, for rigging up the price of fuels, for crushing the future. And I think, frankly, what their goal is to crush the future, and I want to take away their pretext. Because we have a way to produce unlimited energy without any carbon emissions, and that's nuclear power.
I'm going to bring up later on Chernobyl and Fukushima and get your reaction to that. How many nuke power plants do we have running and operating now, Robert?
In the United States, it's a bit upward of 100. Now, in fact, yesterday, we turned on a new one, a nice big one in Georgia. It's the first nuclear power plant, though, that we have started up in this country in 30 years, and it took 14 years to build. Our first nuclear power plant, the shipping port built in the 50s, took 3 years to build. Now, you would think that as we got more experience building nuclear power plants, the time to build them would get shorter. Instead, it has multiplied fivefold, and as the time to construct has increased, the cost of the plant has increased as the time squared. Okay, so it now costs 25 times as much to build a nuclear power plant as it used to. And this is not because of the technology. The technology is exactly the same. It's because the regulatory structure. We've got this insane regulatory structure, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. If you look at their flow chart for the approval process of
of a Putin nuclear power plant, it looks like a map of a New York subway system with a million stops and trains going this way and that way. And each of the subway stops have a subway map inside of them. Okay? And it's just the same. It's the Federal Aviation Administration was run like the NRC. We have no airplanes.
Are the older nuke plants, have they been renovated, remodeled, or are they still running on their old systems?
They're still running on their old systems, and that's another problem because the NRC makes it impossible to improve the system. In fact, back in the day when I was working in nuclear power in Washington State, there was a nearby plant in Oregon called the Trojan plant, and they had a problem. They had the pipes corroding in the secondary roof, and they knew what the problem was because the pipes are made of carbon steel. So they said, we want to replace these pipes with stainless steel. Okay, we made a mistake. We went too cheap. So we're going to put in better pipes. The NRC said, no, you cannot do that. Because your license says you would build it this way. If you want to change anything, you need to get a new license. And this is now the 1980s. And by then, it was already an incredible process to try to get a new license. And the process, by the way, is not just getting approval from the bureaucrats. At every step, it is set up to allow interveners, that is to say, attorneys in the employ of the environmentalist organizations, to go in and intervene and create a court case there. So it's just ridiculous. So they said, no way, we're just going to keep replacing the pipes every 6 months. So this regulatory structure, far from helping improvement, has blocked improvement.
Fukushima happened in 2011, Chernobyl 1986. Let's go back to Chernobyl for a moment, Robert. They say that it still will be uninhabitable for 20,000 years. What the heck happened out there?
Okay, well, before we talk about Chernobyl, I want to talk about how American nuclear power plants, the builders will get to Chernobyl. Okay. The American nuclear power plants, and 90% of all nuclear power plants in the world, are what they call pressurized water reactors. And these are based on the reactor that Captain Nichols was created for the submarine Nautilus, and then was made into a civilian nuclear power plant in Shippingport. And as I said, well, there's been about 1,000 of them built on land and sea for the past 60 years, and not a single person has ever suffered any harm from a radiological emission from one of these plants. And these plants are inherently safe because they use water as a coolant and as what's called a moderator. To make the chain reaction work with low enriched fuel like you have in a reactor, you've got to slow the neutrons down. And the thing that slows the neutrons down, or moderates it, the term goes, is water. And the thing is, if the reactor starts to heat up too much, the water would start to boil madly, and that puts holes in the moderator, so it doesn't work. And then that shuts the reaction down. Now, if the reaction shuts down, the boiling will go down, the reaction will start up again, and all this happens in milliseconds. So what happens is it's actually totally stable. It cannot run away. Okay? If the water boils too much, it stops the heat up process. That's how American reactors work. And furthermore, they're all surrounded by containment buildings, which are 8 feet thick, reinforced concrete. They're based on construction techniques that the Germans actually used in World War II for U-boats. And those U-boat tanks withstood furious Allied bombing without ever crashing. And the spec on these containment buildings that you see around all American nuclear power plants and all European nuclear power plants, okay, is that if an airliner crashed into them, it wouldn't break. Okay, and this, by the way, was way down long before 9/11. If the 9/11 hijackers had decided to crash their plane into the Indian Point power plant in Washington, New York City, they would have wrecked the plane and they wouldn't have broken the plane. Okay, so that's American nuclear power plant. Now, Chernobyl, first of all, no containment filter, none. Okay, and in addition, the moderator, instead of using water, was graphite, and graphite does not boil. Okay, and so when they did this really stupid experiment of pulling the rods and sending the power up to the Chernobyl plant, it started to heat up. But unlike a water-moderated reactor, that doesn't shut the reaction down. In fact, it actually speeds the reaction up. So the reactor was built not to be stable, it was built to be unstable.
Did they know this?
Oh yeah. And they did this, and so they had a runaway chain reaction. Now, it wasn't a nuclear explosion like a bomb, because to make a bomb, you not only have to have a runaway nuclear chain reaction, that it can put off uranium before the bomb has a chance to disassemble. Okay? And that's the real skillful engineering. So that's a trick. Now, the Chernobyl reactor was not engineered that way, but it did have a runaway chain reaction which caused it to disassemble. So it just broke apart, okay? And now you have this red hot graphite exposed to the air, so it captures fire. Okay? So this reactor was not just unstable, it was flammable. Okay? Very flammable.
They did everything wrong, didn't they?
Absolutely. And so the whole thing went up in smoke, scattering all the radioactive waste that was in the fuel all over the landscape. Now, it has to be said, okay, about 100 guys were killed. They're trying to fight the fire, and they were directly exposed to this massive radioactive smoke right there, the firemen.
They killed them quickly, or did it take time?
Some of them died in a day, some of them took a couple of months. But yeah, they got a severe radiation dose and they died. Now, the estimate that probably 4,000 people died from fallout is just a theoretical estimate, and it's probably way overestimated, because it's based on a theory called, it's all discussed in the book, by the way. The Chernobyl accident is discussed in the book, and how all reactors work is discussed in the book, and why they're completely different. Okay, and also this theory for estimating radiation doses, it basically says that if a certain dose will kill you, then 10% of that dose has a 10% chance of killing you, and a 1% dose has a 1% chance of killing you. And that's wrong. In other words, that's like saying drink 100 glasses of wine in a night. If you drink one, that's a 1% chance of killing you.
Hold on, Robert. We'll talk more about Chernobyl, Fukushima, and then the great things we happen to be doing here at home.
Don't forget to watch our TV show, Beyond Belief, with George Norrie. Just log on to BeyondBelief.com. Language is learning. For BetterStone.com. KFI, news of the hour. On the hand. And when it breaks. I'm in Houston in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A crane operator died after crashing into a pole and toppling the crane onto some power lines to the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. Fire crews had to wait to try to rescue the operator's decision until the power lines were turned off. 3 people who may have overdosed on drugs have been found dead inside an apartment building on Skid Row. LA Fire says another person had possibly OD'd in the same location last night, but regained consciousness and didn't want to be taken to the hospital. 15 people have been displaced because of a fire at an apartment building in Buena Park. Orange County Fire Authority Captain Sam Wynn says the fire shortly after 2 a.m. was started by a person cooking. Governor Newsom says he's ready to pay up on a bet after UConn beat San Diego State in the NCAA basketball championship game. Newsom says he'll be sending the governor of Connecticut and California avocados. Southland weather from KFI, sunny and warmer tomorrow with highs in the 70s, 50s, and 60s in the Antelope Valley. Mostly sunny right on into the weekend with highs by Easter Sunday in the 70s to about 80. It's 57 in percent to 53 in San Clemente. You read local in KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Amy King.
In Costa Mesa, there is a full freeway closure for Roths northbound from the 73 to Fairview. All lanes are going to be shut down for road work until 5. Long Beach, we have good news. Earlier crash service was on the 710 northbound right before the 405 has been cleared from rain. You drive up the full speed in that area. Grand
until 5. Hey, if I in the sky, don't get me there faster. I'll try your day.
This report is sponsored by Insperity, providing scalable HR services, access to better benefits, payroll, and HR technology for over 35 years. Insperity's mission is to help businesses succeed so communities prosper. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. Visit Insperity.com. The How to Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule of cheap travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right, yeah. When you take the tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it to come up with money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast.
When you go to a place of business, that business has a legal duty to protect you from harm and injury. Yet many times people are attacked, raped, robbed, and even murdered because the business they trusted violated that duty. Sometimes the lighting is so dim or not lit at all, so it allows criminals to prey on that customer. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com or on your cell phone dial pound law. That's all. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Struggling with CPAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body. Treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit InspireSleep.com to learn more. AFI, AM 640. I don't buy the organic around. First of all, it's not organic. They put the celery from the $1.29 bin into the $2.99 bin. You think the guy's going, hey, this is organic? There's never been an organic piece of fruit or vegetable in any market. But you'll kind of like to yourself. They're just crazy people buying that stuff. Live 4 to 7 p.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. And we have a new flavor, the radio-flavored Coca-Cola. That could be their next product, right? Handle World, oh no. Oh, if you want to go to them, it's quite Bill Handle. Not half Bill Handle. I don't even want to go there. Live 6 to 9 a.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. I gotta be Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. We're going to take your calls next hour with Robert Zubrin as we talk about his work. The Case for Nukes, his brand new book, his website, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Well, May 27th is not that far away. We're going to be at the Dells in Oregon, which is about 80-some miles east of Portland. Why are we going there, Tommy? You get to share a stage. I'll be on that stage somewhere too. With a person will not share it with them, but a person that was on that stage was Steve Garland. That's cool. That is very cool. Cab Calloway was on there. Some cool people were there. This is the amazing Granada Theater in Dallas, Oregon. It's about 84 miles east from Portland. 3 guests that night. We're going to do a live stage show. Dr. Sky Stevens will be there. UFO abductee Travis Walton, and from Animal Planet Bigfoot Hunter Matt Martin. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. We'll include a live band, a salute to our veterans, which we do every show, and a live Q&A and some other surprises. So head on over to coasttocoastam.com if you're interested, which you should do. Head over to the top, and Lexi's got all the info right there in the carousel. Rolling there right there, and you've got links for you and everything else. Take advantage of it. Now build up your immune system.
HealthyLooking.com and Dr. Alan Millay bring 4 decades of experience and natural products for the exclusive stem cell wellness kit that works with your body's stem cells to assist your immune system. Here's Dr. Millay with more.
Whether it's physical activity, obesity, diet, smoking, low on hormones, stress, sleep disorders, or your age, can be supported by reducing inflammation and aiding the body to heal itself appropriately. A stem cell is a cell waiting to be told what it needs to be. If there is inflammation, that inflammation needs to be stopped. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, various types of cancer, depression, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disorders, osteoporosis, even fatty liver are chronic signs of inflammation and can be aided by supporting the body's ability to protect those cells that it needs. And that is the purpose of any stem and adaptogen together, supporting the body to be best it can do.
Dr. Millay, how will I feel after taking a Dr. Stem and immune stem?
The immune system is going to have an immediate effect. But I tell you, your immune system is starting to function better after 24 hours. You put a adaptogen along with it, and most will feel it within 30 minutes.
Order now at HealthyLooking.com. The stem cell wellness kit from Dr. Millay protects your body's stem cells and will make you feel better faster. The stem cell wellness kit with adaptostem and immune stem and your previous Relaxol is only available at HealthyLooking.com or toll free at 800-563-3980. That's 800-563-3980. Don't forget to enter promo code George for free shipping. George's stem cell wellness kit at HealthyLooking.com. That's HealthyLooking.com.
Tax season can be taxing on your identity because all your personal information is all in one place, getting emailed, shared, and possibly exposed to identity thieves. Tax forms can be like one-stop shops for ID thieves, which means it can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. Protection against identity theft is easier with LifeLock by Norton. LifeLock by Norton helps monitor your info and alert you to potential identity threats. And if you do become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it during tax season and beyond. No one can prevent all identity theft and monitor all transactions at all businesses. If you can make sure your identity theft protection starts here. Join LifeLock today. Save up to 25% off your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to LifeLock.com and use promo code George. That's LifeLock.com. Use promo code George to save 25% off. LifeLock.com. Fun and Adventure has returned comics and graphic novels from Marvelous Entertainment, based on the thrilling sci-fi masterpieces by Marvin Sundum. Acclaimed comic creator Andy Fitch and his team are bringing that sense of wonder and thrill in straight-out action adventures like those great old comic book stories you remember in their line of time. I Wagon, Haunted Planet, Space Dreamers, codename Adam Bomb, Tales of Singularity, and the kid-oriented Wagon TV. Join them at iWagon.com and it's iWagon.com. Execution for trying to convince us to join therefore incapable of being executed. Edward,
This is the first one. This is the first one. Really? Yeah, this is a live TV.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you, along with Robert Zubrin. His latest book is called The Case for News. Robert, let's wrap up about Chernobyl, jump over to Fukushima, and talk about the positive aspects here at home. So Chernobyl is rendered useless for 20,000 years.
Well, no, Chernobyl reactor was destroyed. But if you want to know, once again, there's frankly no evidence of much harm from the fallout from Chernobyl. There may have been some, but very little. In fact, the area around Chernobyl right now, because it was evacuated by people, is now one of the richest wildlife reserves in Europe. Because the animals love the fact that the people have moved out, and they're doing just fine. It's now inhabited by giant bison, wolves,
all sorts of animals that people thought were extinct in the area have gone and recolonized it.
The radioactivity hasn't destroyed the area?
No.
All right, 2011, Fukushima. What about that situation?
Well, Fukushima is very interesting, and by the way, after Fukushima, I want to talk about there's only 3 nuclear accidents and consequences: Fukushima, Chernobyl, and 3 Mile Island. We'll get to that one in a minute. Okay, but Fukushima, of course, an entire city was destroyed by an earthquake and a tidal wave, and 28,000 people were killed by drowning or falling buildings and things of this kind. And 3 reactors were destroyed, okay? But not a single person received a dangerous radiological dose. Not a single person outside the plant got any radiological dose of any significance whatsoever. So if you want evidence for nuclear safety, Fukushima is it. And if you can have a natural disaster that destroys the whole city and the nuclear power plant, and no one is harmed by radiation, I mean, it doesn't get much safer than that. If that had been an oil refinery, it would have caused fires all over the place, and there would have been giant smoke clouds, and you name it. If that had been a chemical plant, there's all sorts of things that could have been that would have caused all sorts of harm. But nuclear power plants, no.
Is there something to be said about building power plants by earthquake faults?
Yeah, you shouldn't build power plants by earthquake faults. But I do want to talk about actually what in certain ways is the most famous nuclear accident, which is the one that happened in our country at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania.
1979, right?
Right. Now, here's the thing. Okay, that a pressurized water reactor cannot have a runaway chain reaction. And the people like Ralph Nader say they could if they're just lying. But the more educated environmentalists would acknowledge that this is so. However, they say, but there's a different answer, which is that the nuclear power plant accumulates radioactive waste in its fuel element. And even though you can turn off the nuclear reaction in a millisecond by dropping in the control rod, or if the water is removed, there's chain reaction shuts down. Okay, what will happen inside of a millisecond is the power level of the reactor will drop from 100%, not to 0, but to 7%, because the decay products are still producing that much heat. Now, it'll then go down in a few hours to 1%, but for a few hours, it'll be giving off substantial heat, and if the coolant isn't there, the fuel is going to melt. You'll have a meltdown, and they said it will not only melt the fuel will melt its way through the 8-inch thick steel pressure vessel that contains the reactor, and then it will melt through the containment building 8 feet thick, and then down through the earth, to the center of the earth, and then somewhat unscientifically, it will then proceed up to the other side of the earth to China. And this is called the China syndrome. And coincidentally, there was a movie of that title about such an accident that occurred the very same month as the 3 Mile Island accident. Now, what happened at 3 Mile Island was there's an operator error, and they drained the coolant out of the reactor. And because the coolant was out of the reactor, the fission reaction shut down. But yes, there was decay. So the fuel element did melt. But they did not melt through the pressure vessel and the containment building and to the earth and all the way to China. They didn't even melt all the way through the pressure vessel. They melted their way about 1 inch into the 8-inch thick steel, and then they stopped. And that was the end of it. And there was a small amount of radioiodine what had radiation dose they would have gotten if they had spent the weekend in Colorado, because the background radiation here is higher than Pennsylvania. That's how it was. 3 Mile Island is the only mega disaster in human history in which no one was hurt. Right? So it was purely a propaganda thing. And this whole thing is discussed in depth in the book, The Case for Nuclear.
Now back home, let's talk about the power of nuke power. Do you believe how it's clean?
It's clean. Okay, and well, let's start at the beginning. What's the biggest problem that we have on this planet today? I say it is poverty. You know, we have poverty here in America, but the average American income is $50,000 a year. The average income on planet Earth is $10,000 a year. Okay? So, big difference. And, below this, half of the Earth is below average. So the average is 10,000, and there are people making 5,000 and 2,000. And nothing. Okay, and nothing, but then they don't stay alive very long. But this is a huge problem that affects billions of people. Billions of people suffer from malnutrition, and their bodies are weak and subject to disease for their entire life. Or their children have to go to work, and so they can't get any education and they have no future. And you go on and on about this, but this is what our world is actually like today, okay? This is the problem. Well, if there's a direct proportionality between energy use and living standards, because everything that you use and everything that is made for you and everything that is transported to you to use, it all involves energy. And if we're to raise the whole world to the current American standard of living, and once again, we still have poverty here, but just to get to that level, we'll have to increase human energy consumption 5 times. 5 times. And that doesn't even take into account population growth. Maybe 10 times. Okay? Now, so these people who say, well, we want to replace fossil fuels because of the carbon emissions, they're not even addressing the right problem. Because first of all, you can't replace fossil fuels with windmills even at the current level of energy consumption, let alone replace them and increase our energy production 5 times over. But you can with nuclear energy, because nuclear energy represents an energy resource as vastly greater than fossil fuels as fossil fuels are compared to horses and units, sailing ships. Okay? The fossil fuels revolutionized the world. And fossil fuels, by the way, they're a lot to save the environment. You know who saves the whales? Rockefeller. Okay? Because the whales were being hunted for their oil, but when we got petroleum oil, then they didn't have to go after the whales anymore. And the whales were saved. And there's a lesson there, because you're going after a resource that plays a much smaller role in the biosphere than the whales do. Or forests, cutting down forests. And they're drilling for oil has much lower environmental impact than cutting down forests. Okay? Well, nuclear power is even more remote from the resources that are used by the biosphere. There are no animals or plants that make use of nuclear power, unlike the fact that they make use of trees and so forth. So in other words, if you want to preserve the natural, you've got to create the artificial. And that's what nuclear does. And just to give you an idea of this, the amount of any block of granite, like buildings are made of, or mountains are made of, okay, contains 2 parts per million uranium and 8 parts per million thorium. And if you took
Absolutely. I do everything that a human does on YouTube. So, you know, I might tweet a little, I might pick my nose, I might fart. You never know. I might have to scratch myself. That's how it works.
We're using the deuterium in water. 1 gallon of water equals 350 gallons of gasoline. That's how much energy we're talking about. We're talking about releasing energy that could power humanity at 1,000 times its current energy level for a billion years.
Robert, there was a 1975 book by John Fuller called We Almost Lost Detroit. I was living in Detroit then at that time. That talked about the filming.
It's a great question. Hey,
which was a southern suburb.
A kitchen dream.
That happened in 1962, another meltdown. That was a huge story then.
Yeah, that's also discussed in the book.
He's got it all.
that reactor, which was damaged in a partial meltdown, was subsequently repaired and operated through the 80s.
It would have been an event had I known Neil G was there. I would have set an alarm, I would have been up and at him, I would have put on a suit, done everything for you.
Well, yeah, but I'm telling you, there is a real problem that we face, okay? And the thing that we can't use carbon fuels.
I get a lot of messages like that. I mean, you gotta imagine, for like 8 hours, it's the world's most boring stream because I'm sleeping during it. But I really think in the future, people will want to see that and see, like, what it's like for someone, like sleep studies and people like that. I mean, especially to be able to understand people's circadian rhythms and things like that. That's the reason why I keep it going while I sleep. And, you know, that's part of life.
Now the problem is that we're not going to run out of fossil fuels, and that's why we have to stop it. way, what they're trying to do is stop economic growth. And stopping economic growth is avoiding the future. Stopping economic growth is sending billions of people for the rest of human history to have to live in poverty. That's what it is. And so, look, they talk about how there's too many people. We got to get rid of people. Well, we're not in danger because there's too many people. We're in danger for people who think there are too many people. Okay? And, as I mentioned earlier, I was originally a nuclear engineer, and in the 80s, I was the basis of the Sierra Club, and they would talk about we have to stop economic growth because of all the pollution, and we're going to run out of fuel. And I said, well, nuclear power creates no pollution, and we'll never run out. And they would say, we hate that. And
You're absolutely right about that. Queen, did you let these folks know? Did they know anything about him? Is he part of their project, or what's going on?
And then I realized that's exactly why they hate nuclear power. They hate nuclear power because it would solve a problem that they need to have. Okay? And that's all discussed in the case for nukes as well. It talks about where these people are getting their money. It talks about the ideological motivation, and the problem that they create for the rest of us. By really, they're using these purported problems of resource scarcity and pollution for an agenda, which is to basically say that there isn't enough to go around, so human numbers, activities, and liberties must be severely constrained. Okay? And that's why they hate nuclear power, because it takes away their fundamental premise. It says that resources are unlimited, so human numbers, activities, and liberties do not need to be constrained. And quite the contrary, it is, why do we have nuclear power?
That's phenomenal.
We have nuclear power because of freedom. We have nuclear. It was America that invented nuclear power through its scientific creativity and inventiveness, which is a product of freedom. Freedom creates resources. They say, in order to live without resources, we must curtail freedom. I say, and what nuclear power says, is in order to create resources, we must have freedom.
If you had your way, how many nuclear power plants do we have in this country?
Well, to me, if we wanted to, look, France is 75% nuclear, 10% hydroelectric, 15% fossil fuel. Okay? If we had continued building nuclear power plants at the rate we were building them in the early 70s, we would be like that today. And instead of having 100 nuclear power plants, we'd probably have around 400. Okay?
And that would do the job?
That would pretty much, we would be essentially to decarbonize the electric grid. And the only major country, by the way, to decarbonize their electric grid is France. So Germany, which is run by environmentalists and says, oh, we're so green, we love our forests, so we hate nuclear power. Germany produces 5 times the carbon emissions as France per unit electricity produced. And it's even worse than that because a lot of their carbon emissions they're getting from burning down forests. They say, it's so natural, we're getting our electricity from natural wood. Well, that's called killing trees and killing the animals that live in the trees. You're not a friend of nature if you get your electricity by burning down trees. You're a friend of nature if you get your electricity by splitting atoms.
Pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I say is, send the trees, split an atom.
Are people concerned that a nuke power plant can blow up like a nuke bomb?
Well, that is a propaganda line. Ralph Nader used to say that. But as I say, it cannot be done. It is physically impossible. If terrorists were to take over a pressurized nuclear power plant, which would be quite a trick, because, they're heavily guarded and all that. But let's say they did it, and they were trying to make the world like a bomb. They could not do it. It's physically impossible.
They could render it useless, but that's about it.
That's it, yeah.
Robert Zubin with us. His website's linked up at coasttocoastam.com. His book is called The Case for Nukes. When we come back, we'll take phone calls with Robert as well. And you're still pushing the Mars Society?
I sure am. And by the way, nuclear power is needed for the human future in space. We're going to settle Mars, we need nuclear power. If we're going to go to the stars, we need nuclear clear out. Is it doable? It's doable. Stay with us, Robert. We're going to take calls with you next hour here on Coast to Coast. Just about anything goes. Talk to them about Mars. Talk to them about the case.
If I understand this correctly, I mean, having a killer book, absolutely, yes, and everyone knows that it's happening to other people. Basically, are you telling me if you want to be absolutely safe and well-free, you shouldn't click any link really ever? It's basically what you're saying. Is that correct?
Insiders, or simply want to enjoy our website on your phone, visit coasttocoastam.com on your iPhone or Android browser.
To me, that is perhaps the biggest speed bump essentially that is really stopping people from mass adoption. Because if you were to say to the average person, yeah, you should get into Web3, it's really great, you can make all this money out of it, oh, but you can't ever click any links. People are going to be like, well, I don't want to do that. It takes away most of the internet for me.
I'm trying. Cars are hard to find. I've looked everywhere. Everywhere. Have you checked Roto.com? Roto.com? Yeah. Roto has exactly what you want. Available cars. And at great prices. Okay, I'm tracking. Oh my Roto, that's a lot of cars. The wait is over. Find new and pre-owned cars available right now by downloading the Roto app or check out Roto.com. At best, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. One small trip for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Ralph.com. Ralph, fresh for everyone. With the single price we'd like to be Ralph.
Stay big on your favorites with the buy 5 or more save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your cost. Ralph, fresh for everyone.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, or IBS-C are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation strategy the same old way, or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with one batch when occupied. And that is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movement and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms. Belly pain, comfort, and bloating. These symptoms of study in combination, not necessarily.
Do not give Linseth to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linseth if you have a bowel blockage. Intermediate help can be developed by people with severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stool. The most common side effect is diarrhea, so have severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linseth and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine what can relieve from IBS-C for you. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linseth. Learn more at Linseth.com or call 1-800-LIN-DESS.
AFI, AM 640.
Well, I definitely could see how someone could do that. It's just to me, it's essentially we're asking someone this question if they want to get involved in cryptocurrency. You want to get involved in Web3? Great. You can't ever click anymore. It's like, to me, that's kind of counterintuitive to using the internet. I'm looking forward to someone who has some kind of solution for it, because essentially anyone who's in Web3, it makes almost most of the internet unusable because most of the internet is filtered links. And I understand, like if someone's emailing you a malicious link, I get those kind of things. But I mean, essentially, if you're just on Twitter and you want to see what someone posted because they tweeted it and you click that link, well, then you should be involved in Web3.
In 2022, there were 2,230 reports of non-categorical use support. This includes select severe encounters like seizures, leg sweeps, pushing, and shoving. The department says there was a 27% drop in officer-involved shootings dealing with the mentally ill, and a 30% drop in shootings with the homeless. Gregory Payne.
The operator of a train that toppled over and hit power lines in Malibu has died. LA County Fire says the operator became trapped inside the cab this evening. Firefighters had to wait for the power lines to be turned off, but it's still in to rescue the operator. Off-Florida Canyon Road has been closed since he created the Green Road. A woman in Irvine who allegedly poisoned her husband by putting braille in his drink has been indicted by a grand jury on 3 felony counts. Orange County DA's office says Dr. Emily Yu's husband suspected she'd been putting something in his drink last year after he noticed a strange taste in his tea. The man then put in cameras in the kitchen and caught you putting liquid drain cleaner in his drink on 3 separate occasions.
Well, that's good.
State officials are urging the public to take extra
I'm like
precautions and
almost
beware of
shocked
cold water
that
dangers
we
this
as a
spring.
community have to
Tell
tell
them the
people
Department of Parks and Rec
don't click
rates
anything
the state
where
snowpack is at
essentially
237%
that
of
makes
average
it,
as
or
months
you
into
have
a
to
series
run
of winter
everything
storms.
through some
Officials
type of
say if all
security
that
scan.
snow melts,
It makes
the
a lot of
rivers
the
and
internet
streams will rise to levels
unusable
not
for a lot
seen
of
in
people,
years.
and
And the water
then
will be
I
running
can see
very
people not
cold,
wanting to start
very
adopting
fast,
restrictions
and
because
could
of
be
that.
very dangerous.
I'm not saying that that's a good
Top Gun
idea.
Maverick is
I
running
think
6
maybe these
nominations
features
for the
should be
2023
enhanced
MTV Movie and
so
TV
that,
Awards.
you know,
It's up to the
basically
big
with
ones,
normal
Best Movie,
browsers,
along with
Safari,
Avatar: The
Chrome,
Way
and
of
those
Water,
types of
Black
things like
Panther,
that. And I
Wakanda
know they're
Forever,
scary to
Inside,
me though, that,
Stranger
you know,
Things,
I mean, I
and
know
The
anyone
Last of
could do
Us.
this too,
Oh,
but
also
you learn about
Netflix
these links
nominations.
that don't necessarily drain
Southland weather for
immediately,
KFI,
but
sunny, warmer
if
tomorrow,
they're
high 80
dormant
in
and
the
then
low to
drain,
upper
it's like,
70s.
wow,
This
there's a
evening,
lot
50s
going
for
on
Antelope
here.
Valley.
Unless you live
Sunny
in
and a
Nova
little
Coast,
cooler
you don't know
Friday,
what's
then
going on.
warming back up for the weekend with highs by Sunday into the 70s to about 80. It's 56 in Diamond Bar, 54 in Newport Beach, 43 in Palmdale, 59 in Hollywood. We lead local in the KFI 24-hour newsroom on Main Street.
In Pomona, there is a full freeway closure from the 71 South Outland Valley to Mission Boulevard. All lanes are going to be shut down for road work until 5. And in mid-city, this is on the 10 westbound at Crenshaw Boulevard. We have a crash and emergency crews picking up the 2 brake lanes. You're seeing some delays from Western Avenue. Montebello, there is a work zone 16 eastbound from Finley to Roseville Boulevard. Caltrans going to be taking away the 3 brake lanes. Your drive's bunching up in that area. KFI, the Sky helps get you there fast. You're on Brian Van.
What's the chance of making music an exclusive deal having common against the Rock Apple Country's biggest superstars? Check this month's Brown Pack New Envelope for your chance to win a trip to the iHeart Country Festival. Scan the QR code and stream an iHeart Country station. Then listen for details on how to enter the sweepstakes. You can win $100 instantly just by opening your envelope. Head to your mailbox to learn more today. No purchase necessary. Void where permitted. See specially marked Brown Pack envelopes from brownpack.com for details.
News live from the Hayes bedroom. It's another eventful night for experienced Ron Steve has been struggling with his feedback. Hayes winds down the track. He's raised with tail throws and elbows. He swings on the couch. He could get inspired. Absolutely, Bruce. Inspires the sleep apnea treatment to give you comfortable, restful sleep with the click of a remote. There's no mask and no home. John. Learn more at InspiredSleep.com.
Inspired is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you and review important safety information at InspiredSleep.com. So I ordered barbecue for a 20-person party. He prepared calls and says, "Hi, Sarah. You probably didn't want food for that many people. Want to ask for you?" I say, "Yes, please." Turns out they were right. Skipping the app. The choices and videos can be pretty snappy if you're hungry.
Easycater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants. Over 20% on easycater.com and no.
Did you know you can get your prescription for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's a free app that can save you money on your medication. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off center. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. It works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, text GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance. The How to Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule of travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be. Right. Yeah, when you take a tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
And welcome to the future, Skipper Skin. All your trophy muscles are around. What are you talking about? For 46 years, the Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck on the market, but it's not just because it's got it wrong. It's not great. It's got cutting-edge technology. Mobile generators, hybrid engines, even wireless charging. That's great, but I've got both. I'm the whole package. Humble, too. Ford Truck Month is going on now. Head to your Southern California Ford dealer for great offers on a Ford F-150. Morgan & Morgan, the fee is free. You don't pay us anything unless we win your case. Pay is fine. AM 640, more stimulating talk. To talk to George Yori, call the wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from each of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. To reach George via Skype, use Skype name George 97313. Send George a text message anytime at 818-298-6521. This is Coast to Coast AM with George Nori.
And our special guest this hour, Robert Zubrin, the case for Nuke. We're going to take your calls when we come back on Coast to Coast. Our cell phones are something we rely on all day, every day, and whether it's staying connected to family and friends, doing business, shopping online, it's an important part of your life. It's just too bad that the wireless companies know that because their charges are through the roof, aren't they? Which is why we're happy to tell you about Consumer Cellular, a way you can still get great coverage and even keep the same phone and number while saving up to half on your wireless bill. How about that? Consumer Cellular makes switching very easy. Their most awarded customer service team is 100% U.S. based. They'll bring you the highest quality of customer support. They'll tell you about flexible monthly plans that you can change up or down anytime you want. And plus, with Consumer Cellular, you'll never be tied to a contract. Go to consumercellular.com/Nori, and for a limited time, get 25% off your wireless bill when you use promo code Nori. That's consumercellular.com/Nori. Use code Nori when you're there for $25 off.
Forcing numbers in always licking his paws, was shaking what he had ball sauce on his back. YNOBICE. 2 weeks after he started Dynamite, I started seeing great improvements, and today 99% of his issues are non-existent. Dynamite is nutrition. Dynamite is the best thing you can use for your dog. Your dog will be. I get my Dynamite from VINOBICE.com.
That's the teaching to let him know, but he's trying to convince us he's gone insane. Therefore, incapable of being expert. On the April 14th, Edward, don't hurt the big. I listen to you. You feel no control. It's so dead. It's time. Every year we'd like you to do. The very after it all, I'm going to be medicine with the doctor. It's a little bit of morning.
And welcome back, Robert Zubrin with us. George Nori back with us. Robert, I will say this, though. I think the industry, the new power industry, has not done a very good job publicizing itself the right way. Would you agree?
Yes, I certainly would. They've been forced on the defensive, and, especially, the people that created the nuclear industry had mostly moved on off the scene by the time the industry came under serious attack in the late 70s, and then you had these corporate ones in charge, and these were not visionaries. They are not people who could really explain what they had here was the greatest gift Prometheus stole fire from heaven. And, the things had the capability of revolutionizing human existence. And, they just were safe, and they went with the flow. Most of the exceptions, but however, it has to be said that this thing was derailed with malice aforethought. The Carter administration, they came in and they were infested with people who were from the Club of Rome, okay, or the U.S. meeting to the Club of Rome. Club of Rome were these people who put out this tract in 1972 called The Limits to Growth. It was just that we're going to run out of everything by the year 2000, and so we have to stop economic growth and population growth and so forth. And so they made a purpose to try to destroy nuclear power, and they created
thoroughly infested with zero brokers, and the Environmental Protection Agency will not only demand that they prove in advance that they're not going to pollute, they will demand that they prove in advance that there was a reason why they wanted to build a nuclear power plant and not a coal-fired power plant or a candy store or a zoo. Okay? That is, I mean, imagine if you have some land and you wanted to build a log cabin on it. And so you go to the city government and you show them the plan, you show them this is a safe building you're going to build, and but they not only demand to know that, they demand to know why it's a log cabin and not a chalet or a Cape Cod or a candy store or a zoo or a guided missile silo. And then somehow you manage to prove to them that your decision is justified, but now it's open to interveners, your worst enemies can come in and file a brief that says, no, the city's decision approving this log cabin was wrong, and this now needs to go to court. And then you have to go to court and somehow prevail in court against these people that there was nothing else you could do with the land but build a log cabin. And then if you win the case, they appeal and go to the next court. And that is how nuclear power is regulated in this country. And as I say, if the FAA regulated the airline industry the way the NRC regulates the nuclear power industry, we would have no airplanes. And so the complaint that is raised by the anti-nukes that nuclear power is too expensive is completely dishonest. It's too expensive because they have intentionally made it too expensive. Any industry could be made too expensive if it's subject to hostile regulation.
Is nuclear power endless? And that I mean, will we ever run out of the resources?
We will never run out of the resources, ever. As I say, the amount of energy in a block of granite equals 100 times its weight in oil. The amount of energy in a gallon of water, if you have fusion power, and in the book I discuss fusion power, as well as fission power, 1 gallon of water equals 350 gallons of gasoline. Okay, and so it's gigantic. We literally have mountains of energy and oceans of energy, and here's the best part of it all. This energy is available to those who can use their minds, those who are free, okay, those who are creative. This energy is there for those who can make it, not just those who can take it. And one of the bad things about fossil fuels is it's a resource that someone can have simply by right of possession. The Saudis have all this oil, they didn't make that oil. That oil was there. And in fact, they were unaware of it until American and British engineers went there and said, you want oil now? And they said, oh, yeah, okay. And then now they can now constrict the world's energy supply, like they did in 2008. They constricted the world's oil supply. They sent the price of oil to $150 a barrel, and that crashed the world economy. And right now, here we go. Okay, we got this thing where we want to get Russian oil off the market because they're invading other countries and using the money. The Saudis, instead of saying, well, that's great, we'll increase our production, get a little more market share here, they say the opposite. Oh, well, that's really cool. We'll cut our production and we'll send the price of oil up and we'll root you till the day is wrong. And so we don't want to have world power in the hands of basically criminals. The people who are using the fact that they have a bind on us to lead us. We want world power to be in the hands of the creative, which is to say in the hands of the free, because only free people can be creative.
What are these huge cylindrical tubes that we all see, which is that picture of the new power?
Oh, those are cooling towers. That is the nuclear power plant, and you sometimes